Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following episode. My name is Colton Brown, reporting to you live from Philadelphia, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Andrew Meadows.
We're here live in the man cave in Dade City, Florida, and we're reporting in to discuss a year's worth of upcoming film and television.
Breaking news.
There
will be television shows and films released in 2024. The year 2024 will herald the arrival of some new television programs for you to watch on the tube, and it will also herald the arrival of some new movie films for you to go to see at the cinema. What do you think about that, Mr. Meadows? No, all right, I'm done with the bit. It's 2024. I thought maybe I'd try something new. Now that we've closed the book on 2023, it's 2024. I thought maybe I'd get fun with it. Seems like an exhausting job. I don't know how they do that every night. You gotta maintain like a level of decorum when you do that, and I don't think we're capable of such things. We say too many naughty words. At least I do anyway.
I think we both do.
They just slip out, They just slip out. Anyway, we are indeed here to talk about 2024. We are here to take a look ahead to 2024. Now, bearing in mind, of course, it is indeed February, probably mid to late-ish February by the time this episode is out. I am aware of that. We are both aware of that. But this was the best time for us to look at it. And I will say, I looked back at our prior years. Obviously, this is not the first time we're doing an episode like this, and this is actually about on par with previous years. So it's really not much later than usual, which is good. It was reassuring for me because I was just like, oh man, fucking January just flew by in an instant. So
well, there's always those movies that we want to catch, that are released in January but are technically part of the award thing for 23 instead of 24. Because it's fucked and none of it makes any sense. I don't know. I think I feel like we've been consistent. I mean, so it feels good that you looked it up.
Right. It's like it's a logical system because January is usually, for the most part, a dead season in terms of big movies coming out. February is usually not too far off that mark. I mean, like we got Ant-Man last year, so that was obviously a big one. And I'm not insulting the likes of M3 obviously either, which was a January release of 2023. I'm not going to say that there's nothing that comes out in January that's worthwhile, but typically we can kind of just use that time to do what we did to catch up on those movies that we missed from the prior year in preparation for our 2023 A Year in Review episode. And then that kind of just leaves us here. In February, it's like, all right, well, not much else to do, but hey, what does the rest of the year have to offer? And it really, like, once spring is on the horizon, I feel like that's usually when we really are starting to see things pick up in a big way. And certainly that is something that we'll see on the movie side of things. We're going to talk about Dune again. I think we teased it a couple episodes ago, talking about like, hey, it's going to probably come up at some point again. So certainly something that will be coming up and we'll be talking about on this episode. But we'll be talking about a great many other things as well, because 2024 is going to bring us a lot. We've got a lot coming on the TV side of things that's exciting. We got a lot coming on the film side of things that's pretty exciting. And that's the fun of this episode is the only preparation that we really have to do before we walk in the door to the man caves, I guess, respectively, our respective man caves, is we watch a lot of trailers, and I do a little bit of a research sort of project on my end in terms of figuring out release dates for things, like what's expected to come out this year, all that good stuff. But it's like fun to just like, hey, let's speculate, talk about like what's coming out and what we're excited for, make some bold predictions maybe and such. So it's a fun episode. I feel like it's always a fun episode. It always surprises me how many fucking trailers we end up watching. Like we basically watch a movie's worth of trailers, or like a mini series worth of trailers, not a Killers of the Flower Moon
movie
size movie or anything like that. Like a sub 2 hour movie, like something like that. But there's a lot we're going to get into. So no fun facts, nothing else to really say. I think we can probably more or less dive right in if you're ready to do that.
Let's do it. What do we got? What's on the docket?
And I will say, just before, just as another preface beyond the things that I've already prefaced, obviously the writers and actors strikes, I think, were a big deal in 2023. I think it's fair to say we'll see an impact, on 2024 releases, in the sense that things that probably could have made it in 2024 won't make it, maybe got bumped to 2025. And in terms of just general like releases, we may see maybe more like, weeks and stuff where things are a little more sparse and stuff like that, as a consequence of things getting bumped back in terms of production cycles and stuff like that. So I will note that at the outset, as some of these things may even change too. Especially I'm thinking about the stuff towards the end of the year. It's entirely possible they've had those dates bookmarked for several years and they may not be able to make them, which is to say, a lot of these dates that I'm going to talk about may just change. Things always are kind of in motion. I think we have dates, certainly on the TV side of things, for the early part of the year that should be pretty good. Same thing for the movies, but certainly as we get later in the year, it's inevitable that some of this shit moves around. As you may recall, Dune Part 2 was supposed to be a 2023 movie.
It was robbed from my fucking birthday plans.
Correct. It was you had grand designs on having a lovely birthday trip to Orlando, see it in IMAX and stuff like that, which will still happen just 4 months later. So
bullshit.
Or not even, I guess 2.5, something like that, or 3.5. I don't know. There's some sort of math that makes sense that checks out there. So yeah, shit may happen that is out of our control, unfortunately, but and this is not everything, because if we were trying to cover everything, we would be here for 4 or 5 hours, and we're trying to not do that. If we can help it at all anyway. So this is kind of catered more to our interests for the most part, maybe some things that are intriguing of interest. But certainly there's going to be, especially TV side of things. I mean, there's so many fucking shows. Every week there's something new on Netflix alone, let alone the other 19 streaming services. So it's kind of handpicked based on our interests, which, for anyone that's been listening to us long enough, you kind of get what we like and maybe don't like, that sort of thing. So now that that's out of the way, are you actually ready to begin? I guess I could have done that and then asked you the question. That probably would have been the more appropriate thing to do. But well, do you want to turn back the clock, talk about some things that maybe debuted on the TV side of things in January?
Yeah, feel like
maybe these are worth circling back to. There's still time. Some of these are done. Some of these are not done. So
yeah, feel like it was a pretty light month in January.
It was relatively light. Of course, January 10th brought us Echo, which we, of course, talked about a couple episodes ago. I figure we'll pay it some lip service here and say, hey, if you haven't listened to the latter part of that double feature episode that we did with that and Killers of the Flower Moon, you can certainly hear our thoughts on Echo there. You also heard from our resident Marvel expert, Enrique Jaime, who was nice enough to record and send his thoughts in on Echo as well. So if you're looking for some impressions of Echo and you missed that episode for whatever reason, definitely check that out. Worthwhile. Our episode. Maybe the show isn't. I don't know. You'll have to listen to our episode first, stop at spoilers, listen to our recommendation, and then go from there. Then you come back to the episode and finish it with spoilers. No, I'm just kidding. I think we liked it. But I liked it more than you liked it, but you didn't dislike it.
I didn't dislike it. It was just a mixed bag.
Fair enough summary.
It was a mixed bag.
Yes. So beyond that, something that is actually still airing as of now is the new season of True Detective Night Country with Jodie Foster. That's airing on HBO. I think maybe 3 or 4, maybe. I don't know exactly how many episodes have aired. It started January 14th. I'm sure it's a 6-8 episode kind of deal. I believe the reviews on it are pretty good. Like, it's what we would probably say a return to form for True Detective, which peaked with season 1, and I didn't watch season 3, so I can't speak to it. But I can certainly say that season 2 fell quite short of the lofty heights that the first season did. And I think it's. I believe this is not really the same. It's like Nick Pizza Man, who did the first few seasons of True Detective, I don't really think is involved in this one, really. So it's kind of True Detective, but
it's just a detective show.
The idea. It's just a detective show using that brand.
Okay,
yes,
got it. Okay,
and
HBO's detective
good
brand.
Correct. This is a recognizable brand. Let's just latch onto this and tell it's already an anthology style thing. We can just set it wherever we want. We can make it focus on characters that have nothing to do with those other, few seasons that came out. And, if it's good, great. 93% on Rotten Tomatoes is what I'm seeing from 147 reviews. I don't know if that's the entire show or if that's, like the pilot that they're reviewing or whatever, but apparently it's pretty good. So, it's the kind of thing that I dig. I think it's I like detective shit.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
Maybe when this is closer to being done, this might be something that I get back to. And I feel like it's something that Anna and I can watch, without her having seen any of the prior True Detective seasons because it's detached. That's the nice thing.
Has she not seen season 1?
She hasn't. We should definitely watch that, if nothing else, and then probably skip at least 2. I would go back and watch 3 at some point, but I might watch, this one for the sake of like, hey, it's early in the year and I've consumed a full TV show. What do you think of it?
And then, you should, if you like that, we should watch season 1.
Yes, that might be the way that we could do that. 6 episodes is what I'm seeing, so 6 parts to this.
2-hour episodes or hour episodes?
Probably an hour each.
Okay,
so
nice.
A little sub 6-hour deal all in, which I think you like that. As
maybe
we talked about with Echo, to bring that up
I'll
again.
watch that
short
all
and sweet is okay.
tonight. Well, I can't sleep while the wife and the baby are out of town. Maybe I can cure my insomnia with a detective show.
Yeah, so it looks like the final episode will be out February 18th, which I don't know where that is relative to when this actually is going up on the feed, but sometime around that, I would imagine, is kind of... The finale may have already aired. I'm not 100% sure, probably, but who knows? We're recording before then, I'll say that. So yeah, give it a look. Maybe it's something that's worth covering. I don't fucking know, So we'll see. I'll let you do the digging on that maybe. Now January 26th also brought us Masters of the Air, which we did talk about a little while back. This is kind of the Band of Brothers, the Pacific type of show. Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks producing. I believe it's got Elvis Presley himself in it, Mr. Austin Butler, Mr. Fade Routha himself as well. And I think, from what I'm hearing, pretty good things on this one too. And it's still an ongoing thing. I think another similar thing, miniseries, 9 episodes, 9 parts. It looks like, a self-contained sort of thing. So that's going to run through mid-March. So hopefully it's still airing by the time this episode is up on the feed. Otherwise, we fucked up somewhere.
We got a problem.
I think we were kind of just like, this is, probably not bad. I don't think it was anything we were rushing into ourselves, but I think certainly for people that want like a war drama type thing, it's probably like a good prestige version of that would be my guess. So I don't think either of us are rushing to watch it, but maybe you.
I've never seen any. I've never seen anything from that.
Mm-hmm. Like the Band of Brothers and stuff.
Yeah, never seen any of it.
That. Yeah, and that's probably worth watching at some point in our lifetime. So, maybe we'll do that at some point. I don't know, but February, it's the month that we're in as of now, as of recording at least. And we've got a lot here, a lot of trailers that we're gonna talk about because lots of stuff is happening in February. Early in the month, this has already happened. February 2nd brought us Mr. and Mrs. Smith over on Amazon Prime Video. This is a TV adaptation version of the Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie movie from 2 decades ago. And this is something that, because it's already out, people are watching it, and then apparently it's pretty good. People seem to be digging it.
It's got quite the
8
cast.
episodes. Oh, it's a stacked cast from this trailer. Donald Glover and Maya Erskine are the leads, but the guest stars that we saw in the trailer, if nothing else, were Alexander Skarsgård, Paul Dano, I think Ron Perlman, Michaela Cole, Sarah Paulson was in it, and then Itza Gonzalez was, so big, great cast. My guess is big star for an episode kind of thing at a time is my guess. Like maybe each episode's like a mission of sorts. But I don't know that. But I could find out by watching it. So what do you think? This is out now. You could watch this instead of True Detective Night Country if you so desired. Did the trailer intrigue you? What do you think?
So
are you a fan of the original in any way? Have you seen the original?
I have seen the original.
Here's 5 questions. Answer them all.
Very long time ago.
Yes, same.
The banner on has been on Amazon Prime, along with the update that they're going to start charging you $2.99 to watch ad free. Just
right.
God damn it.
Yeah, super cool. We love it. we love it. Now, when Hulu is going to make you be in the same household and stop you from sharing accounts the way that Netflix implemented their password sharing lockdown bullshit last year as well. So,
oh my god,
good times we live in. Physical media, man. Physical media. It's the way of the future.
It's true.
It's the way to future-proof yourself anyway. So, not that you have a choice, because all these shows you can't watch physically. So, anyway, not the point.
Not the point. The banner has been up on the Prime for the past couple of days, and I had no interest in clicking on it because it was just Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and I assumed that it was a remake of Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
You didn't need that. No one asked for this.
But I will say, watching this trailer did get me quite hyped. The chemistry between the leads looks like it's pretty great. And the star-studded cast gets me pretty excited too. I feel like these people would not sign on the dotted line if I mean they're actors and actresses of pretty high caliber. I don't think that they would sign on the dotted line if it was a schmucky show. So it's probably pretty good.
Yeah, might be worth checking out. So all episodes I believe are on Prime right now, because I think Prime does the all-at-once dumps, right? I think that feels like a thing that they usually do. So I think it's all out there for everyone to consume. So, I'd like to watch it. So
I don't know if I will.
We'll see if that actually happens.
Yeah.
Right. This is the classic thing that always happens with this episode is like, this looks really good. I'm definitely gonna watch this. Didn't watch it. Come a year from now, I'll look back and like, fucking shit, I didn't watch that, even though it was probably pretty good. Might be True Detective as well. Might be a thing. I was like, I heard it was really good. Even you watched it and said it was really good. And I was like, yeah, I just didn't watch it. So we'll find out. We have a whole most of the year to look forward to and fill our time with and stuff. So there's certainly an opportunity.
10 more months at least,
Yeah. Well, I know something that I will be watching, guaranteed, and I'm not just saying that, is the third season of Abbott Elementary, which will be debuting on February 7th, and then we'll be seeing it throughout the rest of the year. I think it may be a truncated episode order. I get this was definitely strike affected. It ordinarily would have started at the end of last year, but they couldn't film it. The trailer that we got was a pretty short thing. It looks like it was probably just handpicked from a couple episodes. But it looks fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it does.
As it always is. The educated Ava, I'm very much looking forward to seeing that. Jeremy Allen Black was a fantastic line. So, I mean,
it's gold.
What else is there to say
it's
about
fucking
Abbott,
gold.
right? I mean, if you haven't started on Abbott, it is definitely one of the funniest ongoing shows. So. You should be hopping on if you are not already on the Abbott train.
Somebody that doesn't watch a lot of that sort of stuff, it's fantastic. So I couldn't be more excited about it. I was really scared that they were just going to stop it, because of the strikes and stuff. And there were some talks.
I think it's very popular. I think it does very well ratings wise and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I think it's, as long as Quinta Brunson and company are happy to keep making it, I think that we'll
her complaint was
it.
Is the strikes and everything they affected there was a natural rhythm to how the they would try to release with the school year, so it felt like a organic release and stuff. It felt true.
Right.
And
and again, the end result maybe this season is shorter than the other ones have been, which I don't think they've been full 20 episode deals as I recall. Or anything
awesome
like that,
show though. Everybody should watch that show. Definitely catch up in time. Well, too late, because by the time this is up, it's definitely already started. But this is it's on ABC, so it's 1 a week sort of deal. So it's a show that you could totally binge, like
and
20-minute
episodes,
be caught up
like by the end of season 3. Yeah, you could blow through this very quickly, and it's still very funny. It won't get old, I don't think so. February 8th. Oh boy.
Oh, this has been blowing up in my Google. Like you use Google cards? Like you hop on, you click Google, to go search for something, and you get like all these news things. You don't have the Google cards?
I don't think so.
I get Google cards. That's pretty much how I get news. Is Google
your news?
Google cards?
Except for me, of course.
Except for you, yes.
Well. Okay, so are you getting ads, or are they articles? Like what?
I got Collider articles. I've got so it's just different Yeah, it's different articles and shit.
And the thing in question is season 2 of Halo.
The show that fucking broke my heart, and then just continued, and then I continued to show up on its doorstep with a boombox like a '90s rom-com. Come back, Halo! Yeah, I'm still here, baby. What are you
gonna do? We got a teaser a while back, and I think that we were kind of just like, okay, well, I don't know if we're ready to quite go back. I think maybe it was. I think I think we may have decided let's do an episode at a time approach, but not actually stick with it to see if it gets better, because we know that if it starts bad, it ain't going to get any better. Abandoned ship at that point. But this isn't. We got new footage, which is I put a trailer in the script so that we could take a look at the new official trailer, and I wanted to see if that maybe moved the needle in any way for you in terms of.
It did.
Are you ready to go back in?
It did. It's the same reason why I wanted to watch season 1 every episode.
There's no reason it can't be fucking badass. It should be.
Yeah. So every episode in season 1 would have at least a smidgen of badassery, right? It's like
something in it. 30 minutes of bullshit, Master Chief fucking, but then 5 minutes of him being badass.
It's like, oh, okay. They understand what I want. They're going to do it next episode. Never happened. Every single time. So as long as I have some accountability, like if I take this trip with Halo 2 or Halo Season 2 and somebody, or you, if you watch it at the same time, and you can say, listen, Andrew, you need to stop. The show is not good. It's real bad. You need to stop. And then maybe I can pull out. I don't think I have the self-control to pull myself out of this relationship I have with Halo. I really would like to love it. So there's a lot of talk that this is supposed to be a true. They're saying that the fans are going to be very pleased. Fans of the video game are going to be very pleased with this season.
They've maybe recalibrated based on the response to season 1 and been like, oh, maybe we'll just adapt the game this time.
Okay, I mean, homie's still not
closer
wearing a helmet to it, at least. For like the vast majority of the fucking thing, which is fine. It's whatever.
It is what it is. It's a TV show. I get it. You want someone to get screen time or FaceTime or whatever. Like it's the same shit with Iron Man and Spider-Man. Like every Marvel character should always be wearing their fucking helmets, because it should be protecting them. But no, Iron Man's always got to get that fucking thing off his face so that everyone can see RDJ, which is silly.
Whatever,
but
it's fine.
But it is what it is. I think I give that a pass. What I didn't give a pass was the dumb and boring shit that pervaded most of season 1.
Yeah, the teenage girl. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, like this to me, it looks like it's more honed in on the more fun and interesting and badass things. There's not as many scenes in this trailer of just boring conversations of people in military uniforms. There's some military uniforms, people talking conversations, and I'm sure we'll see that still. But like, there's sequences in this that, I mean, I will say look super fucking video gamey, but like, you know what? It's a video game adaptation. What do you want?
And it looks looks like the stakes are higher this season.
Yeah, it just feels like there's more oomph behind it, more like oh, this is something I might actually care about, instead of, I don't even remember what half of season 1 was fucking on about. Like, I don't remember most of it. It was just boring and dull. Like, it was so fucking dull that, I don't know, like, even, like, this could be a clean slate, and I would be fine with that. Like, if you can jump into season 2 having not watched any of season 1.
That's better, honestly.
That's probably the way they should be doing it, is just totally retool things. Like, yeah, you want to keep the cast, you want to keep sort of the visual style and designs of everything. Great, fine, that wasn't the issue. Just get some better writing in there. Focus on Master Chief and the Spartans instead of bullshit random characters that I don't care about.
And that dude that plays Master Chief's a total badass. Like, he's an awesome
he's
actor.
good. He's clearly good at it and likes doing it. Give him shit to do. So that's not fucking all the time. If Master Chief wants to fuck, he can do it on his own time. I don't need to see it. All right. But I might let you take the dive and let me know if you go in on episode 1 of season 2. Maybe you let me know, and that might suck me back in, and then we might repeat the cycle completely anew. Who's to say?
I just can't stop.
It'll just be I don't even say guilty pleasure, just I don't know.
Fucking guilty.
Some sort of
like fucking drugs.
Yeah, it's like a masochistic sort of thing. I don't know. Ford can probably speak to why our inner desires want to keep going back to fucking Halo if it still is ass. But well, hey, maybe it'll be better. It probably won't be worse. I sure hope it's not worse, if nothing else. A modest improvement would be a good thing. A good
Absolutely.
thing, So, February 21st, this is a big one for you. I actually bypassed this trailer to avoid any potential major spoilers since I have not watched any of it. But Star Wars The Bad Batch is bringing its final season, its third and final season, over on Disney Plus.
Okay.
And this is one that, as I recall, I think you're up to date on. I think you like the show pretty well.
For sure.
And it feels like a show that has an inherent, like, we don't need 13 seasons of The Bad Batch, I don't think. So, what do you think? What do you think about this final season coming up? Based on the trailer, which you could say whatever you want about it. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I just didn't watch it because I was just like, I will watch this at some point. Maybe it's 10 years after the fact, Star Wars Rebels style. I don't know. Hopefully not. But
you get
still,
to it eventually.
Where are you at on this one?
I think this one looks pretty exciting. There's some characters that are shown in this trailer.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I did actually get a spoiler from this because there's a Clone Wars era character that has reappearance in this, right?
That's true too. Yep, Clone Wars era character makes a not debut, but is present,
surprisingly back.
Yep. Yes. Sporting a whole new thing. It's like it gave me chills. I was pretty excited about that.
Okay.
I was also excited about other characters that were present in the trailer, and it seems like the stakes are very high. To just use that phrase again, the stakes are very high in this season, and it's the last season, so I guess it makes sense. I think it's going to be pretty good. I'm pretty excited about that. February is stacking up to be a pretty good.
There's some pretty good stuff. Either obviously fully out in February or starting at least. So yeah, and I think again this is one of those things, like the immediacy of all these things is because we know that they're about to drop or have dropped or whatever. Whereas a lot of the other stuff we don't have firm release dates for. So there may be months that are really fucking stacked, like February seems to be. But we'll see. Obviously, with time. But the Bad Batch, that's something I figured would be exciting for you, and I would like to watch it. I really liked the Bad Batch arc that they did in that extra season of the Clone Wars. Those characters seemed really cool, and I feel like I've heard good things about the show, not just from you either. So, and Star Wars, like, I fucking consume most, if not everything that's Star Wars. So,
quick, breezy episodes are easy to watch. You can watch it while you eat some dinner or whatever.
Sure. All right, now February 22nd is a big one over at Netflix. Avatar: The Last Airbender. They're taking another crack at adapting it to live action. The last go-around wasn't very successful. Thank you, M. Night Shyamalan, for absolutely bastardizing the source material. I watched a clip of it, by the way. There's like a 2-minute clip. I'll send it to you. It is fucking hilarious. Everything about it is so bad. It's like M. Night's attempt at doing like a big one shot, True Detective style or something like that. And it is the worst fucking staging, acting, effects that I've seen in many things. It's hilariously bad. But this Netflix adaptation, I think, at least if I'm gonna, just jump in here, I think visually it feels like they're doing a really, really good job of adapting the look of the original cartoon, the original anime.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
So where are you at with this one? Are you excited for a live action take on Avatar?
I think the last time we talked about this, I said that it's got a certain aesthetic to it.
Sure.
That I thought was, I just couldn't put my finger on like what the aesthetic was. I feel like it's got like Bollywood effects, like the maybe the look of it and stuff, which is nothing against. It's just it's kind of the vibe I got from it, which is interesting. And the other thing is I'm very, very, very excited to see the king of the fucking Earth realm, not Earth realm, but the fucking
Earth Kingdom.
Yeah, Earth Kingdom, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was an awesome character in the anime, and I am I didn't think that, because I guess it's supposed to be a retelling of that story, I'm assuming.
There's been some interviews that I think the creators, because some slight backstory on this is that originally the original creators of the show, I think Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko were supposed to be involved in this, and then they dropped out at a certain point, and they're off doing more animated stuff. Like they're making like an animated movies that's set in the Atla world. I think there's literally stuff with Aang that they're doing, and so this kind of turned into its own thing with whoever is making this thing. I don't know exactly who the creatives involved are, making this thing on their own. And so they've kind of been giving interviews in the lead up to this coming out, talking about, certain things that they've changed. Like one of the things they mentioned is, the whole idea in the original series, isn't really spoiler, is that Sozin's comet is going to happen at a certain time, and Aang has to basically master all of his bending skills in time to defeat the Fire Nation, to defeat the Fire Lord and stuff like that. Here they basically said that's probably going to be there, but it's not here in the first season. And the reason they basically cited for that is like, we don't know how many seasons we're doing of this. We don't know how long it's going to, like, we don't want to date ourselves because we've cast children that are going to age Stranger Things style and look like fucking 30-year-olds by the time they're supposed to be still in middle school. You know what I mean? So I think they've kind of done stuff like that. They've also said some shit that's like not super inspiring in terms of things they've made. They're like, yeah, this one's not going to be for kids anymore. Like, it's going to be kind of like we're catering somewhat to fans of Game of Thrones and stuff too. And it's like, yeah, I mean, fine. You obviously want to cater to more than just children and stuff. But they've definitely said some things that are kind of just like everything that I like. I really liked the trailer, the new trailer that we got, like a full official trailer that came out. I think it looks like visually really good. The casting seems really, really good too. The visuals look pretty good to me. And then they kind of say things. I'm like, okay. So I don't know if it's just these people should just stop talking and let the thing speak for itself, or if maybe I should be more concerned. Maybe they're just going to fucking halo it, taking the thing that's really good and then making it not very good, which is totally possible. It's been done before, literally with this exact property. So I think it will certainly be better than the M. Night movie. Certainly more faithful, if nothing else. But I think just visually, I have high hopes for it. I'm hoping that it'll be really good. And I think Anna wants me to finish reading the comics and then watch Legend of Korra. So I don't know if I'll go into this right away.
Okay, I was going to say you got a lot of work to do.
No, well, it's not going to happen in the next few weeks at a bare minimum. I can assure you of that. But I'm curious to see the reaction on this, because I feel like Netflix did the One Piece adaptation last year, which was really, really well received, actually. And then they did the Cowboy Bebop one a few years ago, which I think I don't remember. I think you watched some of and maybe didn't finish. You fell off the wagon.
Yeah.
But I think people were not big fans of that. They didn't really feel like it did justice to the anime. So it's a mixed bag in terms of like taking an anime, adapting it to live action. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So yeah. And like, I don't know, one big thing is like, we're so used to seeing these characters look a certain way. I think they've done a really good job of that, but then they sound different. It's the Rebels to Ahsoka transition where it's just like, oh, it's pretty close, but it's not quite there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you're Thrawn. But even Thrawn visually looked different. He just sounded the same. So it's like, there's just things that kind of, it's the necessary things that have to happen when you do an adaptation is things might get changed, things might be a little different, people are going to look and sound different, and if you know and love the original thing, which both of us do with that Atla, series, it might be a harder adjustment than for people that don't know anything about the anime, don't want to watch a cartoon because it's a kid's show, blah blah blah, and they just want to go in on this. They might really love this.
You just have to own your shit is what you got to do. You got to make something good and then you got to own it. Yeah. And who's to say? We will see. I will say,
Indeed.
So if you ask who's to say, well,
you will say.
I will say. Yeah, you will say too, maybe eventually, but I will say. Probably February 22nd. All right. I'll have an opinion at least an episode.
At least an episode, sure. All right. Well, I look forward to hearing from you about that. Something I'm going to guess you might be skipping. I don't know. You tell me.
Jesus Christ.
February 25th, we're getting the 7th Walking Dead spinoff.
Fuck me.
Excuse me. excuse me, the 6th spinoff, but the 7th overall show in the Walking Dead franchise. The long running, never ending. It's sort of like a zombie in that way, franchise. This one's called The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live. This is a sequel series, picking up from the conclusion of the original Walking Dead series. So I guess if you're going to watch any spinoff, this probably actually seems like probably the one to watch, because it's bringing back Andrew Lincoln as Rick Grimes. It's got Denai Guerrera back as Michonne. So it's basically your Rick and Michonne sequel series. I guess they survived the events of the original series. Spoilers. Which I don't care, because I'm never going to go back and watch that show. But this is the thing. It's a 6-episode little deal, it looks like. I think you made it further in Walking Dead. We talk about, this is probably the episode every year where we check back in on Walking Dead, because there's always a new spinoff that's airing that year.
Something else is announced.
And so, the more ridiculous we get with the amount of Walking Dead shows, it just feels like it gets to the point. It's like the CW, where it's just like, enough is enough, right? Just fucking call it a day at this point. Let the comics keep running. I think the comics might literally still be running. I'm not sure. No, they did finally end. 193 issues. It finally ended. Good Lord. But
it doesn't seem like all that many issues. 193 issues.
That's not too bad. But it also ran for 16 years. So for like a one long ongoing. It's different because Marvel and DC, they have obviously thousands of issues for any of their given characters, but they reboot their shit like every 3 or 4 years. So it's kind of, there's always a way to jump in. Jump out, where you need to. So Walking Dead was not a jump in, jump out. It was
16 years worth of content.
Or you just jump out when you're done, So
I fucking jumped out.
We jumped out pretty early in the process. I made it through all of one season of The Walking Dead, which I thought ended with a big old wet fart of a finale, and I said, I'm good. And then there was nothing that ever convinced me to go back. I think you made it further than that, but I think it's probably the same end result.
5 or 6 or something like that.
It's so ridiculous now. There's and I will say, there are people, I'm sure, out there, perhaps some that are listening to this, that really, really like The Walking Dead. And you know what? And that's fine. It's good. I'm glad. They clearly are not making these for no one. People are eating this shit up. Otherwise, they wouldn't. Right. Otherwise, I don't think this is a money laundering scheme or anything like that. Like, there's clearly some profit to be made. There are people watching these shows. It's just, and it's one of those things. Like, people are going to say that about the MCU, about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like 30 movies, 15 TV shows. It's too fucking much. I can't do it. And like, you know what? If you were starting from square one and you were trying to start from Iron Man and make your way through the whole thing, you'd be doing it for fucking 10 years, So like, I get it. Like, from a certain sort of thing, it's like, you're either in or you're out. And we're so far out on The Walking Dead that it's kind of, to me, it's just kind of a running joke at this point of just being like, well, what else are they cooking up now? Oh, it's the original series, sort of, but now it's a spinoff. Like, oh, okay. Oh, it's a teeny bopper spinoff. Oh, okay, great. It's another spinoff. Fear the Walking Dead. Like, oh, okay, great. There's another one. Walking Dead, the World Beyond. Is that there's another one that had what's his fucking face that they were following? The Daryl Dixon show, Walking Dead Dixon or whatever.
Yeah.
It was I think it was the Daryl and Carol show or something like that.
The Daryl and Carol show?
I think they splintered all of the main cast from the original, the surviving main cast from the original series, and then everyone got their own fucking spinoff. And it's like, I mean, again, it's kind of what the MCU does, but like, I don't know. When you're in it, it's fine. When you're out of it, it's kind of just it's absurd, to a certain extent. So, anyway, it's happening. The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live on AMC. For those who care, and I don't think that we are in that batch. But it seems like it should be a great, cool property. It just feels like there's just too much going on with it for me, personally. So that's what I have to say on The Walking Dead. Do you have any other thoughts on that? No. All right. Very good. I think you might have thoughts on the next thing, though. Concluding our February look ahead, February 27th is going to mark the premiere episode of Shogun. Over at FX.
Shogun!
Exactly. Which is a miniseries, I believe, based off of a book, a novel by the same name, which I think is going to be it's 10 episodes. 10 episodes, so it's going to be running through April. And there was a Red Band trailer that came out, which, fucking TV shows are getting Red Band trailers now. Right? It's kind of crazy. And it was fucking violent,
it was fucking
man.
Red, that's for sure.
It was a Red Band trailer for sure.
Within the first, 30 seconds, maybe 15
Getting some
seconds.
decapitations, and just heads being held, and just it's a bloody affair. It looks like, but it's a historical drama sort of thing with collision of basically, I think, English with Japanese culture. This looks fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I think
it does.
the production values, cinematography, great actors in it for sure. Hiroyuki Sanada particularly gets me very excited anytime I see him in anything. And I know we talked about probably one of the earlier trailers that came out, but I don't think I realized how fucking hardcore this would be for a TV show. And like, it's FX. FX has always kind of, I think, pushed the limits of TV. And obviously now with the advent of streaming, it's like streaming, you can do whatever you fucking want. Nudity, gore, violence, it doesn't fucking matter.
Well, they're
on TV.
fucking doing it all.
But FX is like still, it's a cable network, obviously, but then it's not, just a regular over-the-air sort of network, anything like that. But this still feels closer to streaming. Like
this is
the
HBO.
lines have been blurred.
Yeah,
it's HBO levels of shit. That used to be locked behind the paywall of $15 adding HBO to your cable plan. Now it's just a totally different world we live in, and I'm liking it because this looks fucking awesome. And this feels like, hey, if this is supposed to be a bloody sort of thing, you shouldn't be holding back on it. Even if it's on something like FX. So looks awesome. I'm very excited about this.
Yes. I think that might be I think I might be most excited about
Upcoming TV shows. Is that what you're thinking?
Shogun looks like it's definitely out of everything that we've talked about so far, it's definitely leading the year.
I agree. This
is going to be a very special thing.
I am the most hyped for this of anything so far, and probably of not just of what we know, because there's a lot of stuff that we'll get to where it's just like we know what it is, but we haven't seen anything from it yet, so it's hard to get too enthusiastic about.
If you think about it, I mean, FX for me scratches a lot of itches.
Sure.
It's not an every year place to go for shows for me. It's more like maybe once every 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, when we
once
checked
every
in on devs, a few years back. FX, Justified was a big one for me. Breaking Bad, I think, was FX as well. So like they
what was
they put some good shit out. Legion
was Legion. That's it. Legion was a good one.
So like FX seems to know what they're doing, overall. So yeah,
they have Atlanta. That's supposed to be a really good one, right?
That's good. I watched the first season of that. It was very good. Yeah. No,
this looks incredible. Absolutely fucking incredible. I'm very excited about it. So, February is stacked for sure.
February is stacked. Lots of things to look forward to or to already be able to consume, depending on where you're at. Now, March, we've got a smaller list here, only 2 on the list. But March 15th, we're getting an Apple TV Plus show called Manhunt, which I imagine you don't know anything about, given that we haven't had a trailer for it. But I'm going to tell you about it. It's a 7-part true crime limited series, which is a conspiracy thriller about one of the best known but least understood crimes in history, the story of the hunt for John Wilkes Booth in the aftermath of Abraham Lincoln's assassination. So this is a period piece following the investigation into Lincoln's killer, into Lincoln's murderer. So what do you think about that as a premise? Does that intrigue you?
Did they not catch him in the fucking theater?
I think he gets out of the theater. I think he's aided and gets out of the theater, and they gotta hunt him down.
How about that? Okay, I didn't know that. For some reason,
that's why you have 7 episodes to find out the true story, maybe, or at least a vaguely fictionalized version of it, anyway. But
I was always under the impression he shot the president, and he was like fucking. He just.
Well, that's what happened. Now is you have the Secret Service and stuff that they would swarm, and this man
probably right?
This man would be dead in a minute. Yes, I think the many presidential assassination attempts that we've had. I don't want to say many, but more than one that we've had, some of which have obviously been successful. I think at least 2 were completely successful. At least 2.
I can think of 2. There was a third one that I know of that was not successful.
Reagan one was an attempt that was unsuccessful.
I'm thinking of Teddy, who just fucking got shot and then got up and continued giving a speech.
There have been enough that it certainly warrants the need for maybe the president should just have fucking bodyguards around him.
Teddy the badass.
People are ready to jump in front of a bullet should the need arise, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's called Manhunt. March 15th. I think it could be cool. Well, I'm sure when we get a trailer, maybe that'll better inform our expectations. But Apple TV, I will say, not having watched most of what's on there, everything on there seems to get pretty good buzz. You think about like Netflix. Netflix puts fucking shit on their service.
They make it. They throw everything.
It's like 85 to 90% just dog shit on Netflix. And then there's some good stuff obviously mixed in there as well. But like Netflix's model is quantity over quality, without a doubt. But I feel like Apple has done a really good job of curating stuff, or at least financing the right things, where it feels like they're almost what the old, the Netflix early days were, where it's just like everything that like a show on Netflix was fucking prestige and premiere. Like they were kind of, taking it even a step further than like HBO were, in terms of just like, boom, you have a prestige drama, 13 episodes dropped all at once, totally unprecedented at the time. And now it's just, well, they're still doing that. And there's also 300 pieces of shit that you can also have to wade through to find the other ones. So kudos to Apple TV Plus. I included it here because I feel like Apple usually does stuff that's pretty compelling.
Small batch, high quality shit.
Exactly. Now March 21st, maybe this is a return to form for Netflix, going back to prestige stuff. Maybe not. We'll find out. It's a show called Three Body Problem, which, if nothing else, I think certainly looks very, interesting, visually interesting, a bit out there and stuff. We got a trailer for this. What's your take on the trailer before I get too much in the hooty wada of this? What did you think about what you saw?
So I actually saw this trailer maybe a week or two ago.
But it was, before it was like, you must watch this trailer in preparation for this episode kind of thing.
Exactly. Okay. And I was hype as fuck. I read all about it.
Looks good.
It almost, the visuals and performances and the vibes that I got were almost like if Devs had a sequel, you know?
Sure.
It's kind of the vibes I got from it. It's a really, really, really cool premise. This is another, I think, movie or show. This is a show?
This is a show. This is a 8-part show. Perhaps a season 1, I think, because it's based off of a series of novels.
Well, that makes me a little bit more excited than I thought it was just a movie. I'm more excited now than I was. But yeah, based off a trilogy of novels, Chinese science fiction, I didn't spoil myself on the premise of the thing.
Okay,
so. Sure. I don't know if it's a Firmament kind of situation or if it's a aliens or what, but it looks pretty fucking cool. I just know that the 3 bodies are supposed to be 3 suns. Mm-hmm. I think it's
okay. Yeah, that seems
thing.
That seems right. Sure. Yes,
it's fucking cool.
I think you are correct about that. So. You probably
heady
recognize
sci-fi shit.
Yes, it looks like heady sci-fi, which is very much in our wheelhouse. Looks really cool and very neat. You probably recognize some actors in this. I would guess Benedict Wong obviously probably stood out. Maybe some alums from a certain prestige HBO drama series that had an unfortunate ending. Might have seen one Samuel Tarley. Might have seen a Davos Seaworth in this, wearing a suit, looking very spiffy. Might have seen the High Sparrow at one point. I think he's in it briefly.
Yeah.
So indeed, this is the first post Game of Thrones project for David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. So does that make you less excited, or are you gonna, does that impact your thoughts?
They
on
are
this in
not,
any way?
and they are not incapable of making good things.
I think that's the thing that is the most important thing to think about is, are they working from source material? Is the source material finished? Because if the answer to those questions is both yes, those early seasons of Game of Thrones are fucking incredible. You know what I mean? Like they made slight changes here and there and whatever, but it really never went off the rails until they were forced to make their own decisions and forced to kind of do more of the heavy lift in terms of where these characters go, what the writing needs to be for these characters, and that's really when the show fell off a huge fucking cliff. It's when it the classic meme, if you've seen it, is the horse drawing where it's like fucking super artistic as shit on the left, and then as it gets to seasons 5, 6, 7, 8, it turns into a 6-year-old drawing. Yeah. So the good news is this is based off of a trilogy, and it is based off of a finished trilogy. There's actually a 4th book as well, that is a prequel, or at least it's not necessarily a prequel, but I believe it's just set in the same universe, but at an earlier point in time. So it's more background type thing. So it's a done deal. So this is the done deal. Three Body Problem is the name of the first book in the trilogy. It's called the Remembrance of Earth's Past trilogy. Also just called Three Body because of the name of the first novel. So they're adapting a finished thing, which seems very interesting. It got a good cast, it feels like a lot of really good things, that could work. This could be a Netflix prestige thing that's really fucking good. There's, like I said, 10% of the shit on there actually is really, really good. As long as you can wade through the muck. And this looks pretty fucking good. I have high hopes for this one. I have reservations perhaps because of, the Benioff and Weiss, bridge burning sort of thing we had with the end of Game of Thrones, where it was clear they were done with that show and everyone could tell. But maybe, where their passion has been, reinvigorated in something like this, like taking a series of novels that I don't think either of us have heard of, someone speaking for you. But it looks really fucking interesting and cool. And they got, obviously some alums from Game of Thrones, but some, good cast they put together. Looks good. So
looks like they've got a good budget too.
Good budget. Yeah. Netflix likes to throw money at anything. So why not throw it at something like this? I'm going to say wait and see overall, but I
would
really,
say
really like
that,
this to be good.
Out of the list of things that we've got here, Three Body Problem is up there with Shogun as far as excitement.
Yeah, I think upper tier. Yeah, for sure. I'd agree with that. Definitely something that, this to me has the potential of something that we cover. Even if it takes a few weeks to get through the show, it has the potential of something that could be something really, really special. If it plays well. So that's it for March. April brings us but one show that we have dated for April. I'm sure there will be other shows in April that are of interest, but Fallout is coming on Amazon Prime Video on April 12th. We talked about the trailer a while back. It's obviously an adaptation of the video game franchise. I don't think we need to rehash our thoughts too much of that, but I feel like general sense seemed like it looked like a fairly good adaptation, maybe a better adaptation than something like Halo was in its first season in terms of video game to TV show.
Maybe.
Halo
had me. Halo had me.
I guess
fooled.
that's true. Halo season 1 probably had pretty good trailers that got us there in the first place, and then wasn't until we watched the damn thing that we're just like, oh, what is this? Well, but that was pretty cool.
Exactly.
All right.
Fallout for me is not something that I've been over like I had.
You don't have a huge investment in it in the first place.
No.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of the video games. I've dabbled in them, but I never really got, So, I mean, if it comes down to watching an episode of Three Body Problem or Fallout, well, I think I know the direction that I'm going to go in. It does look, it looks like a faithful adaptation from the trailers that we got.
Definitely.
It looks like they got the look and aesthetic down.
Feels like, it's, and I think one thing, it's the Westworld. I believe it's Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy that are working on it, and
that's incredibly exciting.
I never finished Westworld because they just canceled it without an ending, so I didn't really feel the need to go back and finish what that final season I guess was. But I think Westworld had some really good stuff in it. So ups and downs a little bit, but even the downs I thought were still enjoyable overall. So I feel like that kind of maybe makes me a little bit more confident in the what Fallout is going to be.
Tell a good story.
So
it's a post-apocalyptic thing set in the Fallout universe.
It's one of those things that, like, if this is really good, it's totally within our wheelhouse. There's no reason we shouldn't enjoy something like this. You just got to do it right. Simple as that. So tell a compelling story, compelling characters. The world, we know the world is going to be fun and cool, and have cool visuals and stuff like that. So it's really about doing what Halo did and filling it with interesting things. And not just video gamey bullshit that is fun, but the other 30 minutes of the show are just nonsense bullshit. So that's it for what we have dated. So didn't really say as much earlier, but basically I think in previous versions of this episode we've kind of done by service or network or whatever the case may be. I just organized everything closer to what we did for
movies.
For movies, where if we have a date, I just figured let's just go down to, the calendar. But because TV shows, I think they really don't project TV dates too far in advance in the way that movies, you have to set these fucking dates years in advance. We just don't have as much, obviously, for the rest of the year. So for the rest, we will kind of just go back to just going by network. I'm just going to throw some shows out that we know are coming to a particular streaming service or network or whatever the case may be. And we'll talk about them for a little bit, and then that'll be the rest of the TV. So this is the rest of the TV shows we have to look forward to in 2024. Of course, just a selected version of those. But on HBO, we'll start over at HBO. House of the Dragon Season 2 is coming. We know that it's coming, probably summer sometime. Continuing
Excited. I will do myself. I'm sorry. Got excited. Go ahead.
I would say just continuing the conflict that obviously the end of season 1 set up. The dance of the dance of the dragons, I think is I believe what the war is called. But you're going to look at it. You're going to watch it a little differently, I think, is maybe what you're.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I'll do myself a favor. I recognize the quality of season 1, but the enjoyment factor was not there for me. Mainly, I 100% think that it's due to the way that I viewed the show. I viewed it by just fucking grinding it out, and it was not the proper way to do it. So I will be watching House of the Dragon season 2 as the episodes air.
Yes, probably the right way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So
I definitely enjoyed the first season more than you did. Probably in general anyway, but certainly because of the way that I consumed it versus the way you consumed it. I'm very hyped for season 2. Shit's gonna get wild, is kind of how it feels. It feels like it's somehow managed to recapture the glory days of Game of Thrones, and
which were fucking great.
Never expected that. I think by virtue of the fact that we know how this conflict begins, we saw how it begins, we know how it ends because it's based on Fire and Blood, the fucking textbook. There's a potential for House of the Dragon as an overall series to surpass the original Game of Thrones. And I say that mostly because
reason why
because Game of Thrones ended in the way that it did, and that really kind of retroactively, soured a lot of the experience. But House of the Dragon, 4 or 5 season type thing, really tight, telling this fucking super interesting story of the Civil War. It seems like it could be really good. And season 2 is obviously just the next chapter in that, but I'm really, really looking forward to it. So summer sometime. Also on HBO is something called The Sympathizer, which is something that they put out a trailer for last year, I think, which we talked about. It's like Vietnam War era thing with I think Robert Downey Jr. is in it.
That looked really cool. Is it finally coming out?
Yes. When they put it out, they knew it wasn't coming out until 2024. I don't know why they put it out so early. There was some sort of HBO or Max event where they're just like, oh, this shit's coming to the service at some point. And it's like, I guess they were really like, reaching back for something because it's, like next year it's going to be worth it too. As I recall, I didn't rewatch the trailer. I didn't ask you to rewatch the trailer or anything because we did talk about it, but I feel like it looked really interesting and good. So, awesome. Another thing on HBO, which will all the HBO stuff will also be on Max because that's you can still do HBO through cable if that's how you want to do it, but also you can just pay $15 a month or whatever and just be able to watch it all next day or actually I think it goes up the same time on Max now. It's not even like a next day sort of thing like Hulu. So that's what I have for like HBO produced stuff. Now, moving on to Max, because we're kind of already there, because everything's kind of on Max. We've got a few big franchise kind of things that are getting related TV shows on Max. So first up is Dune Prophecy. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Dune very soon.
What? Dune Prophecy? What is this?
Dune Prophecy is a prequel series set in the Dune universe that's going to take place approximately 10,000 years before the events of the original Dune, before the events of the movies that we've seen or will have seen. by the time this comes out, probably. It will focus on the origins of the Bene Gesserit, and it's I think it's intended to be kind of set in this world, the Denny world of Dune that we've seen, the live action version of it. Denny, my boy. So it's going to follow sisters Valia and Tula Harkonnen as they combat forces that threaten the future of humankind and establish the fabled sect known as the Bene Gesserit. So yeah, it's a little prequel series setting up the fucking Bene Gesserit set up in the in the Dune world, and they're already kind of getting expanded universe with Dune shit, which I think is pretty cool. I think it's at least in part based off of a more recent Dune book.
There's a book called Dune Prophecy, I think.
I think there's one that was called Dune: The Sisterhood, which is what this is partially based off of, which I think was a Frank Herbert one, not a Brian Herbert one. Or I'm sorry, Brian Herbert, but not a Frank Herbert one. It's the son that wrote that one, not the father. So people, I think, tend to like the Brian Herbert stuff a lot less than the original Frank Herbert stuff. But nonetheless, it feels like
Dune does get into the weeds pretty hard.
It definitely gets into the weeds with a lot of the shit. And but I think if you're going to get into the weeds with shit, doing it in a fucking streaming series is probably the way to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Let the movies be the big event shit, playing out with massive budgets and stuff like that. And and for the people that really like this lore and like this world, yeah, fucking make a prequel series 10,000 years ago and the origins of the Bene Gesserit, who obviously are very important, in that Dune storyline. So it's tangential to the overall thing, but still connected in a kind of fun sort of way. So that's Dune: The Prophecy, which sounds pretty cool. Coming to Max. Also coming to Max, Creature Commandos. That'll be our first entry point in the new James Gunn-led DC universe. It's an animated show.
Yeah, okay.
About a bunch of fucked up weirdos who are a Black Ops team of monsters, including the likes of Rick Flag Sr. is leading the charge. It'll also have Princess Ilana Rostovich, who is like I think she's the fish one, maybe. Or no, I don't know. There's an amphibious one. That's not her. I don't even know which one she's supposed to be. Don't ask questions. But we will also be getting the Bride of Frankenstein, Nina Mazursky, who is an Abe Sapien but woman type character, Dr. Phosphorus, who's a radioactive character, Eric Frankenstein, who's Frankenstein's monster kind of thing, Weasel, fucked up looking Weasel from the Suicide Squad, and GI Robot, which is an android that wants to kill Nazis. So it's this is the official kickoff for the DCU. Before we get Superman Legacy in 2025, this is kind of how things will start with this animated show. So pretty cool. Sounds like a weird sort of zany James Gunny sort of thing, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing more from it. Certainly too. But I think it looks visually looks cool from what we've seen. And it sounds cool, from the concept of it. So that's my 2 cents on that. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I might dabble in it when the baby goes to sleep or something, or whatever.
Yeah, it might be a little too intense for baby. I will say, there's some things that won't be too intense for baby. We'll talk about those on this episode.
Okay.
But we're not there yet. The Penguin is probably another one. Maybe baby won't watch. But we are getting The Penguin, which is the spinoff from The Batman, the Robert Pattinson Batman, starring the unrecognizable Colin Farrell as Oswald Cobblepot, following the events of The Batman. So this is probably kind of a bridge between The Batman and The Batman Part 2, which is again a couple of years away, not a 2024 movie, unfortunately. But this is going to be an 8-episode deal. Colin Farrell, Kristen Milioti as Sophia Falcone, got Clancy Brown in it as Salvatore Maroni, and probably some others and stuff like that.
High crime in the Batman universe. It's awesome.
Yeah, crime shit, and that fucking cool Gotham City that we established in the Batman. Colin Farrell, man, he was relishing the opportunity to just be completely fucking unrecognizable, and we did get like a little. I think we got like a look at the footage of this, and it just looks like it's more of the same, which is a really good thing because, as I recall, The Batman might have been our favorite movie of the year for 2022. So,
truly an incredible movie. Really was.
Awesome stuff. So love it. Want to see the expansion of this world. Same thing with like Dune. It's like, yeah, like I don't need a whole movie about the Penguin, but an 8-episode streaming little deal, yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it for Max. Moving on to Paramount Plus, we have but one entry, and that is Knuckles. And you're like, Knuckles, what is that? Knuckles the Echidna, to be clear.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we're getting a little spinoff deal, which I think is expected to premiere before Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the movie, arrives in theaters, and we'll talk about when that's coming. But rest assured, it's by the end of 2024, assuming things hold in terms of dates. But Knuckles is bringing back Idris Elba, voicing the character. It'll be a little spinoff deal on Knuckles. What do you think about that?
It's live action?
Yes, I think it's fully same style and everything as the... it's like the MCU kind of thing where it's like, yeah, they got a spinoff, and it's just like, yeah, they're just making a TV show out of these characters now. Like, okay,
yeah, I'm about that, 110% about that.
Sonic universe, it's getting a
Baby
spinoff
can watch
too.
that.
So yeah, I think probably would be very good for Baby. I think Baby would like Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
he does funny faces. So
yeah, Jim Carrey's the best. Yeah, no, 100% about it. That's cool.
Yeah. Why not? Is how I feel about it. Over on AMC, Orphan Black Echoes. This is a spinoff of the original Orphan Black series, which I don't think you watched. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
No, I never saw that.
Canadian sci-fi thriller, which aired a few years ago. I mean, at this point, I think it came out. I'll double check.
That's
2013 to 2017. So
okay. It's
not quite as old as Firefly, but still relatively old compared to some other things.
Is that a Joss Whedon property?
Orphan Black was not. I mean, Firefly was, but I don't know which one you were asking about. Orphan Black was not. Orphan Black was, I don't know exactly who it was, but it starred Tatiana Maslany, who you probably would know more now as She-Hulk.
Yeah.
And so I know Anna really, really liked that series. I watched the first season, really, really liked it, and then I think I watched it maybe around the time it came out, and then by the time the later seasons came out, I had kind of just moved on and never really went back. But I'd be curious to go back in that. But this is a spinoff, which I think I don't know how closely connected it is, or if it's really just kind of like same universe, kind of completely different story. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if they're bringing any characters back necessarily from the original series, if it's really just truly doing its own thing. But Kristen Ritter is here. She, maybe she'll come back as Jessica Jones in the future now that, all the Netflix stuff seems to be reestablished as canon for the MCU. But in the meantime, she's got her own fucking show again. So she's here. I asked you to watch the trailer. I assume you did. Did this do anything for you?
That looked cool. I mean, it looked like...
Anna said it looked a little Westworld-y, actually, which I think
I did get Westworld. The music
comparison
was also very similar, too. The musical cues and stuff for the trailer.
Yeah,
real Westworldly. But also, like, the vibe that you get. I think the conceit with Orphan Black is, like, clones or memory wiping or something like that, right?
Yes. Definitely clones, for sure, because Tatiana Maslany plays like 19 different versions of herself, and like half the characters in that show are just her, acting
playing a different
herself.
Character, right?
Yeah,
okay.
right, yeah.
So some of that's like Westworldy in general,
Right, sure.
Plus like the white shit that like it looked like they were making a clone of her in this room.
That's true.
She popped up and she was like all white and cocoony looking. So some of the aesthetic carried over too. So
yeah, totally. My fun fact is, for whatever fucking reason, the entire first season of this show is out if you happen to live in Australia.
What?
So in Australia, it came to their streaming the streaming service Stan, which is a big streaming service over there. November it actually debuted, but it has not made its way to the United States. This is a very rare occasion of something coming out in Australia before it comes out in the United States. Very bizarre.
The streaming service is called Stan?
Yes, that's correct. It's called Stan, like the man, like a man's name, Stan.
And can American people subscribe to Stan, the streaming service?
No, I think it's only for Australia, for folks in Australia to have access to,
or VPN it, I guess. Yeah.
By virtue, yes, that's probably an option, and also by virtue of the fact that it having come out in some format, one thinks there's probably a way to watch this show right now if you really wanted to. Right now, maybe you could.
Should you sail the high seas?
Indeed. Should you, hey, take to the seas. You could do that. You could do that if you wanted to watch this potentially. But it will be coming out on AMC at some point in 2024, and so that's certainly, if you're not rearing up to watch it, that's one way to do it. So that's it. That's all I have on the AMC front. We already talked about Walking Dead. So that closes that. Now Netflix. We've got a few to talk about here. Some exciting things. Somewhat jumping ahead. There was a big Netflix always does like a trailer sort of thing for the year. They do their own look ahead trailer thing. And so that covered both TV shows and movies this year. So we got some footage of a few different things beyond what I originally included in the list here, but also including some of the things I had on the list here. So notably, the 6th and final season of Cobra Kai is coming to Netflix this year. That'll wrap up that show, which is exciting. I mean, I'm a little behind myself, but
I am up to date, and that's fabulous.
Maybe one thinks that I can catch up. It doesn't feel like it's fallen off. It feels like it's been able to maintain the level of quality, even because I guess it was a fucking YouTube TV show.
YouTube Red, and then you remember that
YouTube Red. That's what it was. And then made the leap to Netflix. I think pretty seamlessly, and has just kind of seemed to maintain its quality. So. And so my reason for not watching it has nothing to do with the quality of it. So I do want to go back and finish it up. I think I got bogged down because it got to the point where it was starting to bring back a lot of the older Karate Kid movies, and I was like, oh shit, I haven't seen 2 or 3, and so I watched 2, and I don't think I've watched 3 yet. I know they brought back like Terry Silver or something like that. It's like one of the antagonists for 3. So I'll go all in on the Karate Kid-averse at some point, I think.
Highly recommend.
Cobra Kai season 6, gonna be cool. We got a little bit of footage in that little thing. That's why I brought it up. I kind of fucked up. I put something in here that actually came out at the tail end of 2023 on Netflix called Pokemon Concierge.
I saw that. It's like, wow, I think I already saw that on Netflix.
I had no idea. I truly had no idea. I watched the trailer, and then I got to the end. It said December 28th, 2023. It's like, well, that's like basically 2024, right? So it's not really a 2024 show. I would have just ordinarily deleted it and not talked about it at all.
But it was charming as fuck, right?
I gotta say, it looked really good. That feels like a good Baby Beast sort of show as well. Like very, very bright colors.
Yeah.
The stop motion looked incredible. I think it's like 4 episodes and they're all like 15 minutes. So it's like a really short thing.
Okay.
Overall.
I got Ghibli vibes.
Totally, it looked awesome. So that looks just like a super fucking relaxing, non-stressful show to put on and like just one night you could absorb it all and be like, I feel good having watched that show. Like that's what it was to me. So I'm cheating. I know it's not a 2024 show. Don't fucking at me. But it looks really damn good. And maybe take a fucking chill pill and just watch Pokemon Concierge yourself. You dipshit.
Relax.
Relax, man. Don't do it when you want to get to it, that sort of thing. So Pokemon Concierge, 2023 show. Maybe there'll be more episodes in 2024, and I'll be vindicated, okay? Wishful thinking, maybe. Now, an anime show we're getting is it's called Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft, which is expected to make its debut in 2024. Little anime deal of the Tomb Raider games with Haley Atwell voicing Lara Croft. What do you think about that?
I think that sounds cool.
We got a little teaser sort of thing showing off the animation style, not giving us any plot details or anything like that. But like, it's fucking Tomb Raider. Like, you know what it's going to be.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's cool. It's Indiana Jones. It's Uncharted. It's National Treasury, like that sort
adventure
of
shit, man.
Sort of adventure, sort of vibe, which is really, really fun. We like that sort of thing. Do it in anime. Netflix does seem to have a pretty good
they got a finger on the
for
pulse.
anime stuff. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Another anime show. This is coming from the same creator and I believe the same animation studio behind the original Castlevania, and I think maybe Nocturne as well. Is Devil May Cry adaptation of that video game now. Just jumping video game adaptations. So you see Dante, whipping out some pistols and stuff in a little thing that we got. But again, very little shown on this front.
You play a lot of Devil May Cry?
Happening. Did I play a lot of it?
Yeah.
I played the first one, and I think I own the first 3 or 4. But I don't think I really ever played past the first one. It's very stylish and cool. Like, I like it as a franchise, but
I don't remember any. I don't remember any of the story,
myself.
but I remember thinking Dante's cool as shit. And he's got those two big old pistols and that sword and that red trench coat, and he's a real cool guy.
Yeah, pretty much. And like, honestly, that's probably enough for an anime series.
Yeah, just badass stuff. Give me simple creature,
Kraken, that sort of thing. Yeah. He's just going to be, it's going to be violent. He's going to be fucking shooting and, slicing up things and wisecracking the whole time. Like,
and that's okay.
That sounds fun.
Did I tell you that? I didn't tell you this. I don't think I did. Mostly because I always forget by the time it comes to the catching up section. I watched the Mortal Kombat fucking
like one of the
Johnny
movies?
Cage. Yeah, I watched the Johnny Cage one.
Okay. Was that any good?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I
All right.
thought it was
because they've done like 3 or 4 of those movies, I think now.
Yeah, I saw that Sub-Zero was up, or was it Scorpion? I think it was Sub-Zero.
There might be both, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. But the Johnny Cage one was a lot of fun. I thought it was pretty good.
Okay. All right. Very nice. Other Netflix things which I didn't include on my list but have come up by virtue of just their look ahead, and they actually have like a whole press thing that they put out of here's a bunch of shit coming out in 2024. I'm not going to go through the whole fucking list, of course. Squid Game is getting a second season. I think that's very exciting for people. That was a huge fucking show when it came out. So that's definitely something people are going to be looking forward to. I should probably watch the first season, catch up in time. Other things that I think stood out to me, they're doing an adaptation of the Guy Ritchie film called The Gentleman. They're doing that as a series now. So that's I think that's actually March sometime is when we're expecting that. Other ones, Emily in Paris is back. Can't forget about that. They're apparently doing a Terminator anime series, which I don't think we've seen anything from, but that could be neat.
That could be very
The
cool.
Umbrella Academy is getting its final season for anyone that's been keeping up on that, watching any of that. And a bunch of others. Outer Banks is getting another season.
Okay.
There's a lot.
Teenage
Netflix
adventure
always
show.
has something for you. Yeah, the Netflix always has something. There's a Jurassic World animated show. I think it's like a kids animated show. Whole fucking stable of shit that they're putting out there. Arcane season 2 was another good anime that the people really liked. Season 1 of that. Girls 5 Eva, I think they picked it up from Peacock. It got canceled over at Peacock.
Love is Blind.
Love is Blind is happening. I've watched, I think, 1 episode of that, and it was a real fucking trip. I don't know if you've watched any of that yourself.
Sarah, yeah, the Love is Blind. Sarah's watched all the seasons, all the episodes.
Okay, maybe
it's fucking unbearable.
I can't.
It truly is the fucking worst of.
Oh, I'm mistaken. It's not Love is Blind that I'm thinking of that I've watched. It's not Love is Blind. It's another Netflix thing.
Which one? 90 Day Fiancé?
No. It's even more ridiculous. It's the one where they put them in fucking creature makeup so they don't actually know what anyone looks like. But I forget what that one's called.
That sounds more fun than
Creatures. It's like, oh god, I gotta find out. Oh shit, I gotta look it up now.
That sounds better than sounds better than Love is Blind. Love is Blind is where they go on dates, but they can never see each other, and then they propose to each other, and then once they propose to each other, they can see each other. But then all sorts of drama ensues because they were flirting, they were dating all these people in the rooms, and then eventually everybody ends up seeing everybody, and they're like, "Oh shit, I made a mistake. I should have proposed to that girl, because now I can see her." And then it's a world of shit.
The one I was thinking of is Sexy Beasts. But I think I watched 2 episodes of Once Upon a Time. I think we actually watched it when we were in Europe. I think we had access to a Netflix account and had some time to kill at the end of the night and just put it on. Incredible. Yeah, they put them in like these prosthetics where everyone, like someone gets turned into a fucking cat person, someone's a dragon person, and they do like a blind date sort of thing, and they decide if they like each other based on their personality, and it's like
do they get married?
No, I don't think it goes quite that far. I think it's usually just like setting up dates sort of thing, but you basically have to eliminate people based on personalities, and like the big reveal is them taking their makeup off and being, you could look at them and be like, oh shit, they're super hot, I fucked up, like that sort of thing. Is kind of the fun of it. So
it's so fucked. All of them.
Yeah, good stuff. Anyway, Netflix has lots of shit. and lots of other shit. Just shit in general. Good shit, bad shit, mediocre
from
shit.
such humble beginnings. Let me ship you a DVD.
Humble beginnings. Yeah. Oh yeah. From greatness from small beginnings or something like that.
Yeah, man.
Or maybe, I don't know, greatness might be stretching it perhaps. But anyway, that's Netflix, okay? We're going to leave it at that. Over on Prime, season 4 of The Boys is coming. Probably enough said. I mean,
enough said. Yeah, we'll be there.
We're looking forward to it. I'm sure we'll be there. And now that I'm caught up on The Boys, I haven't watched Gen V. I
haven't watched that either.
But maybe I'll do that before the season 4 of The Boys drops, because I feel like they're actually intended to be fairly connected. Not, required viewing, but not just completely tangential, unrelated sort of thing. So anyway, that brings us to Disney Plus, and we've got a slew of things coming to Disney Plus, but I'll say it's a lighter load, I think, than in years past. At least on the Marvel side, Star Wars, we're getting some stuff. We'll finish there. So on the Marvel side of things, we are getting but one as of now, but one live action Disney Plus Marvel show, which is obviously a far cry from the 2, 3, 4 that we've been accustomed to seeing over the past few years. It's kind of a marked slowdown, I think intentionally so, because I think they're trying to not just make everything into a show. I take it back. There's been 2 because Echo came out. So 2 in total, including Echo, but 1 more beyond Echo, which obviously was very, very close to the beginning of the year. So that one show that we're going to be getting is Agatha Darkhold Diaries, which is the WandaVision spinoff with Agatha Harkness as the main character.
That sounds
back
cool.
Catherine Hahn. And, the reason they made this show, I think it wasn't necessarily the plan. I think this was a show that they made because that character was very popular in WandaVision and somewhat of an unexpected way. So you're getting some witches and shit,
Magic. The occult.
Magic. The occult. Once upon a time, this was House of Harkness, and then maybe it was Coven of Chaos, and now it's Darkhold Diaries. Maybe they'll change it again before it comes out. I think it's going to be 9 episodes, not expected until later in the year. I mean, I would think
Darkhold Diaries is a totally fine fucking title. That's cool.
It's fine. It's alliterative. It's got that going for it. I guess they've all been alliterative. They've at least stuck to that through line.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, dump this around Halloween, or at least start it around Halloween.
Yeah.
I think maybe that would be the way to do it, time it right. That could be really cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, why not? It's kind of how I feel about it. Other Marvel things. All of these next 4 are animated shows.
Ooh, you don't say. Okay.
So first up is Eyes of Wakanda, which we haven't really talked about a lot. I don't think we talked about it at all, actually, in fact. And this was a pretty recent development. They didn't really actually announce this until a couple months ago, maybe at this point, but pretty recently. This is basically an animated series centered around, Black Panther lore. Throughout Wakandan history, brave warriors have been tasked to travel the world retrieving dangerous vibranium artifacts. This is their story. That's the official.
Fuck yeah, that sounds cool as shit. I'm there for that.
So Ryan Coogler is involved. I don't know how involved he is.
Hear
but
the
he's
African
involved.
drums.
Yeah, and I think for a while there was an expectation that Okoye, Denai Guerrero's character, was getting some sort of show on her own, and it's possible that this is it. Like maybe she's narrating or something like that. Like I could see that being the case. But cool. Flesh out the world of Wakanda. That sounds awesome.
So is it going to be like a I can't think of my word right now, but is it going to be like, hey, there's this character from like 1400 BC, there's this character from like the 1930s, there's this character from all these different Black Panthers doing different things? Or is it
that would be my guess.
Okay.
Is it's spanning different eras of the Black Panther. So here's a chance to talk about some Black Panther that's T'Challa's great ancestor. You know what I mean? Something like that. Yeah. That's my guess.
That's
but I don't know that for a
that's
fact.
Real cool. Like,
pick any random person that you see in the
spirit realm or what?
Spiritual plane, or I forget what it's actually referred to as in Black Panther. But that sort of thing, like pick a random character. This is their story.
When he's tripping balls after he drinks the soup, drinks the flour soup. Yeah.
Once they've been, sipping the soup,
takes the MDMA or the whatever Joe Rogan takes and talks about tripping all the time.
Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what I mean. Perfect. Nailed it. Couldn't say it any better myself. So that's Eyes of Wakanda. X-Men 97 is coming around as well. That's the revival. my ringtone right now, and probably will be for a long, long time to come. That is a continuation of the classic X-Men 90s animated show. Bringing back, I think, a good chunk, if not most, of the voice cast from the original.
Incredible.
And just picking up the thread. You know, that's my laundry show. I think I've said as much before. Every time I fold laundry, I put X-Men the animated series on. I think I'm in season 3. I believe I'm in the Phoenix Saga right now.
Okay.
So I'm like, yeah. And you watch that order somehow, but
I don't know how it happened.
Doesn't fucking matter.
It happened.
So anyway, really cool. Good. It's an awesome show. Not even just in a nostalgic sort of way. Like, it has that aspect to it too, but it's fucking good. It's a good iteration of those characters. I think Kevin Feige really liked that show, and I think that's why he's like, I'm bringing it back. Fuck it. But I hope that certainly when they do the X-Men live action stuff more properly, when they get to the MCU iterations of these characters, that they, you know, if they pull inspiration from that show, I think they would be doing a good thing. Marvel Zombies is coming. That's the spinoff from the first season of What If. We had that zombie episode, and now we're getting a full show. I think continuing the story from that episode, exploring that world, that section of the multiverse. It's Marvel Zombies. I mean, it's not really a whole lot to elaborate on there.
You know, I think out of all Marvel Zombies is obviously a very popular thing. But of all the What If things to make a spinoff off of,
not what you would have picked.
That's not what I would have picked. No,
that's fair enough.
But
that's fair enough.
It's okay. Whatever.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be a 4-episode thing. Like, it's
well then it's harmless.
You know, it's not going to be a huge thing. It's just like we can continue this world and have you put the 5 episodes together from What If, and that you got like a little movie, little Marvel Zombies animated movie kind of thing. That's cool. Like, I think that's fine. You know what I mean? So I could see that playing just fine. The last Marvel show we're getting, which is, I think, no longer really supposed to be connected to the MCU, is called Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. This was originally called Spider-Man Freshman Year, and it was supposed to be like an early look at, Peter's days as Spider-Man. But then it got kind of weird because it had like Norman Osborn in it, and it's just like, well, none of this shit actually makes any fucking sense, like in terms of how it actually would tie in with the canon. So I think it's just kind of its own thing now. But it does have some MCU voices in it. I think Charlie Cox is supposed to be Daredevil in it, and I think some others. Maybe I forget exactly off the top of my head.
William
but
Dafoe?
The animation style is very. I don't think so. I think it's supposed to be a different version of Norman than like what we would have seen with the Raimi Spider-Mans. But I can't tell if they've cast any. No, they haven't announced anyone as Norman. But the actual prominent voice cast is not necessarily anyone from the MCU proper. So I think it's just kind of its own thing at this point.
Okay, that's fun.
You know, still produced by Marvel Studios, still an animated thing, but I think something that you can drop in, you know, not having even seen even the Tom Holland Spider-Mans if you wanted to. So that's it for the Marvel side. Star Wars, 2 big shows coming out that we know of for sure. First of which is Star Wars Skeleton Crew. This is continuing the Mandoverse. This is in the same time frame, 5 years, or roughly 5 years post Return of the Jedi. Coming of age story about 4 children who make a discovery on their home planet, get lost in the galaxy, and go on an adventure to get back home. And it also stars Jude Law as a Force user. He's not playing one of the 4 children. He's not being de-aged to do that, thankfully. So 8 episodes. 8 episodes on this. The Daniels of Everything Everywhere All at Once fame are, I think, directed at least some episodes. David Lowery of the Green Knight fame is directing at least one of the episodes. Bryce Dallas Howard, Lee Isaac Chung of The Mandalorian directing fame are also directing episodes. So it's a full-on thing that is very much part of the Mandalorian story, but focused on new characters. Will there be a secret episode about the Mandalorian in this? Definitely possible. I wouldn't rule it out. Boba Fett style, but it doesn't seem like that is the intent from the first place. So, Star Wars Skeleton Crew, what do you think?
Very excited. This is supposed to be like into like a Goonies kind of situation, right?
Yes, it's supposed to be like an Amblin type of adventure story, like a throwback to that era, 1980s sort of era Goonies thing. Yeah, definitely
excited.
Intentionally what it is trying to be, which sounds cool. Sounds great, you know?
Totally.
Stranger Things-y, I guess, probably in some ways, because that kind of fits that mold as well.
Right.
So that's that. Now, last but not least, Star Wars: The Acolyte is coming. This is the first live-action foray into the High Republic era of Star Wars, which has this big multimedia project that they started a few years ago now, I guess, which is roughly 500 to 100 years before the events of the Skywalker saga, before the events of even the prequels that we're seeing. The fall of the Old Republic, is kind of what it is. Intended to be. I'm sorry, it's set 100 years after the fall of the Old Republic. So Old Republic has the Knights of the Old Republic era, the Old Republic video games and stuff like that. And this is the High Republic after that. So, Jedi and stuff, lightsabers and all, kind of the classic sorts of things. Yoda as a young Yoda, that sort of thing. And this is a TV show that is in that era, I believe, basically depicting the end of the era is kind of what this is supposed to be. This is the end of the High Republic, and then I guess maybe marks that transition to the Jedi Order, I guess, obviously leading up to the prequel era in which the Jedi Order gets destroyed. So that's kind of the idea behind this. 100 years before the events of the Phantom Menace. So I don't think you're involved in any of the High Republic stuff at all. Maybe.
100 years before. It sounds like it could be a Pelagus thing.
Right. I guess it would make sense for something like
I told
the origins of the Sith, and like if this is basically probably handing it off to
Pelagus.
Sith, kind of rising and making their evil machinations in the background. That could make sense. I could see that working.
Fuck yeah. So cool.
Yeah. I don't know. It sounds really cool. I mean, I have a bookmark on page 1 of the first novel in the High Republic era. I haven't gotten to it yet, but it's on the list of things to get around to. There's comics, there's books. I don't think there's games yet, but there's short stories. Like, it's a whole thing that they're doing with the High Republic.
Big push to try to get away from the Skywalker. Yeah, good.
Right. I think they're done with the Skywalker saga era and filling the gaps between 3 and 4. I think they're obviously happy to play in the Mando era for a while with the Thrawn storyline. And so this is maybe the opportunity to create a new window for stories to be told. Maybe not just this TV show. Maybe there's a movie that they do in that era too, potentially. I don't know. That might be a few years down the line. But yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's a cool idea to have this full multimedia thing. Like, obviously, again, it's the Walking Dead thing of like, when is too much, you know what I mean? But I think as long as it's constructed in a way where it's like, we know you didn't read the fucking books, like, who cares? You watch this TV show, you're getting a complete story from episode 1 to episode 8. And that's it. You're good. Yeah. If you want more, there is more. There's lots more.
Hop in wherever you want. It doesn't matter.
Now, that's how Star Wars has. It's usually how Star Wars is from the other way around, right? It's like, if you love Star Wars, you can read the 900 fucking Star Wars books that exist. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Sounds cool. I'm sure we'll get trailers for both these Star Wars things. I'm not sure what the order is going to be in terms of, like, I'm sure they'll space out the 2 big live action shows. So I'm not sure if we actually will expect Skeleton Crew or The Acolyte first, if there's any, if anything's further along. You'll note that there's a Star Wars show that I haven't mentioned that is coming back for a second season by the name of Andor, and that is because that is a 2025 show.
No.
So you're waiting a bit longer for Andor, unfortunately. But that is it. That's it for the TV side of things. How you feeling about TV? TV looking good for 2024?
Yeah, TV sounds like we got a lot of good things to look forward to.
I concur. Definitely some good ones in there. Hopefully I can watch more than like 5 of them. That's my my lofty aspiration for the year. My New Year's resolution. 2 months into the year, or I guess only a month. I guess a month-ish past the first. Not too bad. So, all right, are you ready to go on and talk about these fucking movies coming out in 2024?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Very, very. You sound very engaged, and I love that. But yes, let's do it. We're going to start here, just briefly touching on some of the streaming movies, some of which I think have dates and stuff. But particularly, as I mentioned, Netflix put out their Netflix Next, or whatever they called it, Next on Netflix 2024, previewing not just the TV shows that we would have mentioned, but all the movies they got coming up as well. So, we're talking about the likes of maybe a Damsel starring Millie Bobby Brown. She's fighting a dragon or some shit, March 8th. Maybe you could look forward to something like that. Maybe you could have caught Kevin Hart in an airplane or something like that. He's a spy or someone's a spy in Lift. Came out in January. Don't forget about that. Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, April 19th. Ooh. Come on. I know you watched Part 1 of Rebel Moon, so there's always that you could be talking about. I know Netflix always drops a movie here and there. A movie called Hitman, Glenn Powell, June 7th. That's coming out. Eddie Murphy's back for Beverly Hills Cop Axel F.
There we go. I'm excited about that one.
That's something. We found one. We found one that you've expressed interest in. Took me 5 to get there, but that's the Netflix way.
That is the Netflix way.
That is how it works. Is most of it you don't give a flying fuck about, but maybe one or two stand out. Looking down this list, there's a big old list of things that they've got coming out, and I don't know a single thing about a good chunk of them. So I'm going to say, unless there was something in that little look ahead that stood out to you beyond Beverly Hills Cop, I might just leave it there for Netflix.
I'm sure big fan
plenty coming out.
Axel and Beverly Hills Cop. I watched that quite a bit. I like that. And big fan of Eddie Murphy in general. Eddie Murphy is pretty cool.
I feel like he's a little more selective these days with stuff he does.
He's
so
hugely selective. Yeah, he doesn't have to work, I don't think.
No, totally. No, definitely not.
So anyways, that's cool. I'm excited about that one thing.
Yeah.
And of course, the other things that we talked about too, but.
Right. All right, so we'll leave it at that for Netflix. One movie coming to Prime, March 21st is Jake Gyllenhaal in Roadhouse. Roadhouse. Are you pumped for this? We got
I am pumped for that. Yeah, I'm excited about that.
All right. Well, what about it? Is it Conor McGregor? You're a big fan? Is that what it is?
No, McGregor's a fucking dick. He's
playing a dick in it, so he's just playing himself. It would appear
he is playing himself. He is a charismatic asshole of a man.
Okay, sure.
And
he's like a fucking heel. Like that's his bit, right? That's kind of just what he does.
That's his character.
I mean, he's obviously
that's his brand. He plays it. He owns it. And he's selling his brand on this show or on this movie. Right. And I like Jake. I think he's a pretty cool actor. Jake G. And I like the original Roadhouse. So
right,
I mean,
this is a remake. That's probably obviously worth mentioning. This is a remake of a Patrick Swayze.
I hope it's
movie.
Better than the Footloose variety of remake.
Yeah. When you're gonna remake Patrick Swayze movies, fucking do it right.
If I can do it right, but I feel like they're off to a good start. I think they hired the right bad guy. He seems like an appropriate bad guy. Looks like there's some hardcore fighting, hardcore action going on.
He's slapping some people around, but then it's going to get probably a little rougher.
It's like I'm slow to piss off, but once I do, I can't let it go. All right, dude. Well, let's see it.
Yeah.
So
let loose, my dude.
Let loose.
Yeah, so this is directed by Doug Liman, who did the likes of, what do you know it? The original Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the Brangelina one.
Okay.
Jumper, Hayden Christensen and Samuel L. Jackson in Jumper. But wouldn't you know it, he did a movie called Edge of Tomorrow back in 2014 as well.
There we go.
Obviously has a special place for us. American Made as well, which we covered back in old 2017. It's an early days of the podcast sort of episode. You remember that movie?
No.
Haven't seen it since then, but you remember it now.
I don't remember. What the fuck was that movie?
It was Tom Cruise, where he was
a drug runner.
Yes, he was the drug smuggler. Correct.
I remember it. Okay.
Yep. So there you have it. Yeah, that's what's going on with Roadhouse. So it sounds like you're in.
Yeah, it sounds like fun, and I can stream it.
The beauty of it is you can watch it from your very own couch. Hell, you could watch it from that chair you're sitting in if you so desired. I mean, you wouldn't be able to see the TV in the living room there, but you could certainly do it with whatever screen you got in front of your face. So March 21st is Roadhouse. Now, we must again step back in time and go back to January. I only have one movie that I put here in January, but we haven't talked about it at all, and I figure I might as well talk about it. January 12th brought us Mean Girls. And you might think, didn't we already get Mean Girls, say 20 years ago? And you would be correct to say that. And indeed, they did do another Mean Girls, but it's Mean Girls, and it's a musical. It's a musical version of Mean Girls, which they wouldn't have told you that. There's a big trend of movie trailers hiding when a movie is actually a musical, and so they kind of did that here. They put a little music note in the logo. That was the cue to let you know this is actually a musical. Oh, you couldn't tell from the trailer? Well, that's your fault then. I don't know what to tell you. This isn't misleading marketing in any way. Don't sue us, Drive style or anything like that. And I don't said on Wikipedia it's a musical. So Mean Girls, the classic Lindsay Lohan movie, got later adapted to a stage musical, and then this is now funneled back into it being a adaptation of the musical in the form of a movie, which obviously is a very classic thing to do, is taking a musical and making a movie out of it, but usually it doesn't kind of go full circle in the way that this one did. So I expect you did not see this.
I did not. I wanted to, though. I thought it looked...
You were interested in it.
I was interested. Yeah, it piqued my interest.
So this might be when it comes to the home theater, you might be checking out Mean Girls, the musical?
Yeah, might check out
movie?
Mean Girls. Yeah. I enjoyed the original Mean Girls. That might be a guilty pleasure. I watched it quite a few times.
I agree. The original's great. It's a classic now. I mean, quite honestly, now at this point, it's been 2 decades. It's a fucking classic.
Yeah.
It's good. It's really good.
So, I'd be
I don't expect it to be better than the original, but it's different. It's not just a remake. If you're going to do a remake, you got to do it right, as we talked about. But it's got to be a reason, for doing it in the first place, not just a cheap cash grab of doing a worse
making
version
something
than the
a musical that was not a musical. Of course, this is a movie of a musical, but the point remains:
right, but
making
it's
something a musical that's not a musical.
Obviously, going to play very different than the original. You can have the original Mean Girls, and you can have this version of Mean Girls, and it's not just a worse version of it. It's a different version of it.
Exactly.
You may not like it as much. It may not be as good. I can't speak to that, obviously. But it's fucking different, and intentionally so. So I feel like, hey, that's got that,
that's got value.
For it, so.
There's value
there.
Right.
Mean Girls. We didn't get a chance to see it. I didn't get a chance to see it myself. But I'm sure it's probably pretty fun. I mean, to be honest, it's probably pretty fun. So that's how I feel about it. Now, moving on to February. We're getting a little bit more, obviously. So we just came out fairly recently. I don't think either of us have seen it. You for fairly obvious reasons, which, as we would have talked about on the Killers of the Flower Moon and Echo episode, you're probably not seeing things in theaters. At least not for the near future.
Yeah.
At some point, I'm sure you'll make your way back. But given your whole eyeball situation or lack thereof, that's probably a pretty good reason for you to take things easy on yourself for now. No 3D movies, as you said, as well. But Argylle, man. Argylle came out February 2nd in theaters. And it hasn't done super well in terms of box office stuff. And I believe the reviews are pretty great
pretty poor.
either. Yeah. But it's Matthew Vaughn's latest, of Layer Cake and Kingsman and that bad Kingsman sequel and maybe the bad Kingsman prequel, which I actually didn't watch, so I'm not sure if it's bad or not. But it does seem like Matthew Vaughn has been on a downward trajectory in terms of the reception to his movies, if nothing else. I thought it looked like... I was of two minds about Argylle, and this may be true, having not seen it myself. I haven't seen it. I'm not sure that we will see it necessarily, which is disappointing because once upon a time, when they put out that fucking promo image of Henry Cavill in the green velvet tux with his Paul Phoenix-ass hair, I thought, that's awesome. This is incredible. I want this now. And when they put the trailer out, I was like, oh no, that's just a a fictional depiction of
it's a weird
the literary character. And my understanding is that most of this movie is not that. Henry Cavill's in it for like 5 minutes. Is kind of what my sense of it is, which may not be totally true. I haven't seen it again, but I want that. I want that movie. I want the ridiculous Paul Phoenix Henry Cavill movie. I don't care how ridiculous it is.
Gold dress.
Dua Lipa. Yeah, lean into it, man. Lean into it. Hey, you can make a movie where Bryce Dallas Howard is like writing the spy shit and Sam Rockwell's a spy, and like that could totally be a really fun movie in and of itself. But this movie is
give me that
promo image. I want that, and I think to me, every time if I do watch this movie, anytime Henry Cavill's on screen, I'll be like, yes, this is great.
It's a Master Chief teenage girl situation. I want Master Chief. I don't need the teenage girl. You know what I mean?
No, and so the movie came out. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes long for some fucking reason.
Oof.
And it's like, if Henry Cavill is 10 minutes of that even, it's like, that's another 2 hours of other shit. I'm like, that's not what I want. It's not what I'm here for.
Yeah,
that's not what was promised to me in the first place.
And we've already seen probably about a minute and 30, maybe a minute and 15 seconds of that 10 minutes.
Yeah, we've probably seen like a cross section of every fucking scene he's actually in, so I don't know. Apparently it's not very good, which is a bit of a bummer because it felt like, I don't know, Matthew Vaughn is an interesting director. I feel like does interesting shit. You mean even that Kingsman sequel, which was really bad, I guess was at least a swing. It was a swing and a miss, but it was a swing. Yeah. And like this one feels like, I guess, somewhat of a swing, but it just, I don't know. Just my enthusiasm, if you compare it, again, I'm sure you could, track the record, go back to when we first saw that
promo image, trailer, and then reviews.
We were like, oh my God,
steady,
what is this thing? And it's just like, yeah.
Steady decline.
To the point where it's like, are we going to cover this movie? Probably not. I mean, you're not seeing it in theater anyway, so that probably doesn't really help matters. But at the same time, even if you could or wanted to, would you?
Over what is coming out on the 9th, I would probably say no.
Okay. So what's coming out on the 9th? Why don't I tee it off to you?
There is a movie coming out on February 9th called Lisa Frankenstein. Starring the love interest in Stranger Things of what's his face's sister. What's his face's sister is the main character of Lisa Frankenstein, I think. I'm not making a lot of sense. Usually you do the interest for these things.
I should have done that, is what you're saying. I don't know if that's true.
What? It's totally that girl, right? You know which one I'm thinking of, right?
It's Ant-Man's daughter is the main character, I can tell you that.
Huh?
It's Ant-Man's daughter from the third one, not she's the most recent casting of Ant-Man's daughter, who's playing the main character.
Okay. Is that what I recognize her from?
Possibly. I don't know. Your sentence was indeed confusing. I actually don't know who you were trying to identify.
I am identifying So the one boy goes into the Upside Down, and he has an older brother.
Yes, Jonathan is the older brother.
Jonathan's love interest
is Nancy.
Nancy, is this Nancy?
It is not Nancy. Well, I do see the resemblance. I don't think you're not totally off base. I mean, you're wrong, but you're not totally off base. if I may say so.
Well, maybe
myself.
It's the hair. Maybe it's the 80s styles hair.
It is evoking a little bit of that. Yes, I agree with that. All right, I'll handle the intros from here on out. You're fired. To be fair, I'm the one that does the research on these sorts of things.
The fuck's her name? Nancy from.
I put
Stranger
too much
Things.
on you. Natalia Dyer is the actress's name. The actress in Lisa Frankenstein is Catherine Newton, who was in Detective Pikachu. She was in Detective Pikachu. She was one of the leads in Detective Pikachu, and she was also Cassie in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. She's the super grown up Cassie. That's suited up, in the purple Ant-Man suit and all that.
There's a slight resemblance, but not really. I think it's one of those.
It's just like the face shape, I feel like, isn't super, super duper far off. But I think it might have been the hair. I think the hair was tricking you. I'm going to blame it on the hair. But
I think it's one of those situations, where like everybody's got memory of a saying. I forget what they call it. So everybody remembers a thing being said a certain way, but it was never said that way. You know what I'm talking about?
I do, and now I can't remember what that's called either. So there you go.
Whatever.
I'm slacking.
I'm just lost calls. Anyways, this shit looks like original. It looks fun.
It's fucking weird.
It looks weird. Zelda Williams is Robin Williams' daughter, right?
That's right. Yeah, this is, I believe, her directorial debut, if I'm not mistaken.
Which is cool, and I don't know who Diablo Cody is. but he's writing it.
Feature film looks like the directorial debut from
Diablo Cody. I apologize. Diablo Cody is a female American writer and film producer.
Diablo Cody is mostly known as a screenwriter. She wrote Juno. She wrote Jennifer's Body with Megan Fox and Amanda Seyfried.
Tully,
Tully, which we covered once upon a time, 2018. Charlize Theron and Mackenzie Davis. Yeah, she's written a few things. Young Adult was the also Charlize Theron one, which we didn't cover. That was before we. It was not before we existed as people, but it was before we existed as a collective medium, as a podcast. So yeah, she's written quite a few things. I think Juno and Jennifer's Body were like those are kind of the first couple things she worked on, and kind of that's how she broke onto the scene. And I don't think she's really done too much super duper recently. Yeah, this is the first thing since Tully, so it's been 6 years since she's written anything, or at least she's written anything that's been taken, and been adapted to screen. So it's like a riff on Frankenstein, obviously, but totally kind of reinventing the story with teenagers and, Frankenstein's monster being obviously a younger version as well. Cole Sprouse, more recently of Riverdale fame, Jughead in Riverdale for anyone that watched. A very unhinged and absolutely bad shit show. So you think maybe, eye heels up? I might see Lisa Frankenstein in theaters. Is that kind of where you're at? Is that what you're thinking?
Maybe. Yeah, it might be a fun movie to bring Sarah to watch. She might like it.
It's a potential Valentine's Day kind of movie coming out a few days before it.
Yeah, it's a love story. It's kind of a love.
There's
story.
Another option on Valentine's Day we'll get to shortly, but maybe this wins is what you're saying.
Yeah, this looks like it just looks like a creative, fun, original thing, which it appears to be well made. Also, the logo treatment is fucking gold too.
Pretty good. So you want to have episode art where we could have that, is what you're saying? Yeah, the
stitching coming through for the lighter letters. I mean, it just looks like a lot of creative ingenuity went into this movie, which is it's always cool when people put forth effort into something.
Yeah, sure.
It generally fucking shines through. You know what I mean? Yeah. And this is
we like when people try and not just shit something out. Again, maybe like something else that's coming out around Valentine's Day. I don't know.
Yeah, this feels like it's shining through, though, so I'm excited about this.
All right, well, maybe it's something we'll have to talk about. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. It's right about now. It's probably already out again by the time this is out. So maybe we'll be talking about it. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll talk about it. Figure it out. But yeah, I think it feels very throwback to me in terms of just the vibes of it. Feels like a movie that doesn't usually get made. Something about it just seems very 90s or something. I don't know, which I like. It's fun. So there you go. Now the movie I keep tiptoeing around, February 14th, Valentine's Day itself. Oh my goodness gracious. It is the first of at least two movies. No, first of three offerings from Sony in the what's it called? The Sony's Spider-Man universe. It used to be SPUM. It used to be the Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters. It used to be SPUM. So now it's SSU. Madam Web is coming out. I know we've all been looking forward to it for a long, long time, since the trailer came out, since they first announced it. And when you know it, you can bring your wife to Madam Web. You can double feature it with Lisa Frankenstein. Maybe that's the way to do it. Or you could just not watch it at all. It's totally up to you. I mean, you live your life, man.
I think I'll put this in the back catalog of SPUM films.
You'll watch it right after you watch Morbius and Venom 2. That's what you're thinking?
Exactly. Okay. Carnage.
Sure.
Can't forget about Carnage.
Yes, of course.
Venom.
Venom. I hope there's a really cool tie-in song for Madam Web as well.
Madam!
Eminem's back. Madam, Cadam, Dadam.
Jesus Christ. Can't make
Just
it
goes
up,
to
though.
the alphabet. No, this is a movie that you can't make up. So my understanding, just based on some of like what we've seen from it, is that this movie takes place in 2003. And I gotta say, they've done a bang-up job of making it feel like a superhero movie that was made in 2003. So they've accomplished that. If that was the mission
goal?
statement, They've nailed it. They've absolutely nailed it. If they're trying to make something that looks watchable and not like a giant piece of shit, they have failed that task. But we haven't seen it. We can't weigh in, completely. But it looks...
the marketing team's definitely doing a terrible job, if that's the case.
It looks real bad. It looks very budget, very CW-y in many ways. And it's like, all right, a bunch of Spider Women and Madam Web and fighting an evil Spider-Man kind of guy. Maybe this could be something, and maybe there's a version of that works, but it does not appear to be this one. As we would have talked about when we talked about the trailer, the fucking line reading about, my mother, and she was researching spiders in the jungle and the forest or whatever, and it's like the most dull, fucking bland-ass sort of shit possible. And, I don't think Dakota Johnson... I mean, if we're going to talk about Nepo babies and stuff like that, she's definitely a strong candidate for probably would not have a career were it not for her parents. But I think she's fine, generally speaking. She fired her. It came out recently. She fired her agent a week after the trailer for this movie dropped. And honestly, good.
Good on you.
Like there's a small contingent of people that are swindled into being into these Sony Spider-Man movies, thinking they're part of the Marvel Universe, not realizing this is a weird sort of side thing that's not really connected, even though Sony really, really super desperately wants it to be. And the only reason that it's connected in any way is because Kevin Feige wants Spider-Man and the MCU movies, so he's willing to be like, yeah, it's part of the multiverse. Don't fucking talk to me.
Right.
So, it looks like shit. I mean, there's really not much else to be said. No fucking surprise that Madam Web, a character that I think most people would agree does not need her own movie. No surprises that it looks like dog shit. So, but hey, take your lady, take your mans, take whoever, take anyone. Go see Madam Web on February 14th if you want to get dumped. You could do that. All right, February 23rd, we're wrapping up February with Drive Away Dolls, which is a movie from one half of the Coen brothers, from Ethan Coen. This movie stars Margaret Qualley, Geraldine Viswanathan, Beanie Feldstein, Coleman Domingo, Pedro Pascal, probably in it for about a minute, I would guess, from the looks of this. A little Coen, not quite Coen brothers thing, Coen brother thing, it would appear. What'd you think about the trailer?
Oh, I thought this looked funny.
Yeah, I thought this looked stylish, the same way that different, obviously very different from Lisa Frankenstein, but quirky and stylish, and that, different than your usual flavor of things.
Who's directing this?
Also directed by Ethan Coen.
I was going to say it
feels Coen-y for sure.
And I really enjoy all the Coen bros. So I would imagine that I would at least halfway enjoy this one, being that it's written and directed halfway with, at least one of the bros. The premise looks fun. The premise sounds Coen-y.
Definitely. Yes.
And, I'm there for it. It's
described as a little comedy road film. Yeah.
Crime action,
Yeah, it looks very entertaining. It feels like it's going to be a snappy, 84 minutes. It's going to be really fucking snappy.
84 minutes.
That's barely a movie. Christ. It's a TV pilot for some shows. But short and sweet, all right? Short and sweet's not a bad thing. You don't got to stretch things out,
Bad Batch has a 3-hour first episode premiere.
It's longer than this movie, apparently. But it does look good. I mean, it's gonna be short, snappy, and sweet, I would guess, based on that runtime. And
it's also
not a bad thing.
It's also got this guy in here that looks like they wanted it really bad to cast Paul Giamatti. But he's like a Wish version of Paul Giamatti.
Well, Paul, he's a little expensive. We didn't have the budget for Paul. He just could not be persuaded, so we got this other guy.
Paul Giamatti.
Paul, yeah. We got the guy that played the Rhino in the Spider-Man movies, because Paul Giamatti, that was his evil twin. He has disowned that performance, so it's his evil twin that did that. So that's who they got here.
Yeah, that looks pretty. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, looks fun. All right. what we're really here to talk about, what we've been wasting hours doing instead of getting to the damn point of 2024, which is what March 1st brings, and that is Dune Part 2. We received a third trailer for it relatively recently, which we haven't talked about to this point, so now is the time to do it. What is there that needs to be said about Dune Part 2? What do you want to put on the record now before we get a chance to talk about it in March?
Tour de force.
It's your bold prediction?
It feels, Star Wars before our time. You know what I mean?
Sure. Sort of during our time, but not originally.
Not originally, right?
Continued.
Not the and technically the inception of this IP is
the
before us as well.
And I guess there have been live action attempts in the past too. Some of which predate us as well. But nothing.
Some of which that does not predate us, but
scale.
Nothing
that has done justice to the original source material anyway.
Right.
Nothing that has reached the heights that this one has in terms of everything about it. But, in terms of audience reach and stuff like that, Dune is in its heyday now, for sure.
Yeah, and it feels like, we're here for that, because we are here for that, and it's fucking cool.
We were here for it in fucking October and November when it was supposed to come out. Those sons of bitches said, strikes, we can't promote this. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah,
well, they're promoting it now, and it looks fucking incredible.
They made the right call, because now they can go full tilt with marketing, all in. The hype machine, I think, is in full force, and it's working.
They're doing like a straight up 70 millimeter release in like 12 theaters around the world, and you're like you're like a golf ball hit away from one of those theaters.
Probably a mess.
Prussia,
probably King of Prussia. Yeah, it's like 45 minutes. It's not too bad, but
is that where you ordered your ticket?
No, I think we have it pre-ordered to see it in Jersey, across the river. We have it set for Dolby for Thursday night. Is how we're gonna experience it. IMAX was fairly booked up. Anna's a big fan of the Dolby format as well.
Yeah, Dolby's nice. There's nothing wrong with Dolby, that's for sure. It's very nice.
I could do 70. I mean, we when we saw Oppenheimer, we saw it in 70 millimeter proper. It wasn't 70 millimeter IMAX. It was just straight up 70 millimeter. This is a movie I think we'll probably see more than once. So I'm okay with seeing it in different formats, getting to compare it. I mean, I think had we wanted to see it in 70 millimeter IMAX, probably what you're talking about, we would have needed to book as soon as those tickets went on sale. And we definitely missed the window on that. So we have good seats for what we have for opening night. I'm looking forward to that, and I think I anticipate liking this movie enough that I will want to watch it again. If it's not to that hype level, I mean, it's long. It's going to be, close to 3 hours long or whatever. But if it is not something that I need to see twice or want to see twice, then that might be a little disappointing. But I have high hopes. It's Denny. Denny has never fucking failed me. He's going to do it at some point, and it's going to suck. But he has not failed me yet.
So I think the first trailer for this gave me goosebumps whenever he Paul Atreides was like on the Muad'Dib was on top of like this the fucking mountain, and he's talking to all the people, and it just sounds fucking epic. And then in this trailer, he uses the voice on the
voice on
silence, and it's like
silence.
Oh fuck! I got fucking blew me back in my chair. Got my headphones on.
Yeah, just imagining that moment, when they do like the cool fucking effects.
Man.
Like, one thing about Dolby I will say is, like, you fucking feel that shit. Like, if they do Dolby right, your fucking ass will be rattling.
You're gonna feel it, and you're gonna feel the voice in your soul.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fucking
your
cool.
chair is gonna fucking vibrate. I am looking forward to that, because
I'm excited. Feel like the sound design.
This is a movie that's it's gonna take advantage of every premium format possible. So whether you're seeing it in IMAX, whether you're seeing it in Dolby, even if you're seeing it in a rinky-dink theater, like it's gonna fucking rock those speakers.
Oh my goodness me, dude! The fucking thumpers. Boom.
Yep.
Boom. Oh man, all of it. The action, the sheer scale of what this particular movie. I mean, there was scale in the first one. Don't get me wrong,
but this is probably next level in terms of like where it's going to go. Resolving.
I mean, this is the fucking conflict
one set up.
You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
So yeah,
even like the because they cut all the Fade Routha stuff out of the first movie and pushed to the second one.
You got all of that shit to explore.
That black and white like gladiatorial thing looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
That looks neat. Like I'm pretty pumped to see that shit. So.
And I watched this is not part of the trailer. They were on Jimmy Kimmel, and they released like a real small little snippet, of a little knife fight.
Okay.
Oh, dude. Oh, just looks like.
All right. I mean, maybe we're peaking a little early here. Is there anything in 2024 that you are more hyped for than Dune Part 2?
No.
I can't imagine there is.
No, definitely not.
Okay. I figured it's worth establishing it. And
but
nothing else,
it's a this isn't
You've
a
also
typical.
been hyped for it for a while, so
It's not a typical movie. Yeah. Nothing about the first Dune.
It's an event.
Was
an event
typical.
movie, man.
It is an event movie. They don't come around often. I mean,
no, and I don't really think there's nothing like it that's coming out this year in terms of just pure. This is like
spectacle.
You're going to be part of a big moment by being here. We're not getting a Star Wars movie this year. We're not even getting a fucking Avatar movie this year. So it's like this is the spectacle. This is the big one. This is the biggest movie of the year, probably. I don't know if it's going to make the most money of anything this year necessarily, but
it should.
Scale, spectacle. This is top tier. This is like I don't think anything's going to surpass that. Maybe Furiosa, but we'll get there. But no, I mean this is maybe peak. In terms of just fucking epic shit.
Like when you if you were to ask somebody, what kind of film can be made in 2024? What's capable of being made? Of course, you have the creator, right? You can make that on low budget, but I'm talking on just resources. What can you make? You know what I mean?
Right.
Dune is like the ultimate project right now. It's just so fucking cool. I'm so excited. It's going to be so fucking awesome, dude. So good.
All right. Well, we have high expectations. The only question that remains to be answered is, will they be met? At the very least, will they be exceeded? I don't know. And that's my only question walking in is I know I'm going to be entertained. I know it's going to be an awesome story. The only question is, have we fucked ourselves over by getting so hyped for what's to come?
We were hyped for the first one.
Works against us. Exactly. You can set sky high expectations and they can still be met and you're good or beaten. Like it's totally possible. The first one did it. The first one met the expectations. I think the only thing about the first one that maybe felt a little flat coming out was
how it ended.
I want the rest of the story.
Yeah, right.
I want the rest of the story. Like it just ends with like, oh, Zendaya's in this for a minute. Okay, well, that's cool. Who is she?
And I imagine this one's going to fucking end the same way.
Well, maybe. I mean, at least if nothing else, this is taking the end of the book, which, depending on how, the book ends, maybe, and there's more. We know there's more to the story. There's fucking 800 books and there's more.
They're going to wrap it up in 2 parts. It's supposed to be a 2-part movie?
From what I understand, this is wrapping up the events of the first Dune book, and then Denny wants to make a 3rd movie that picks up the 2nd book in the series that adapts the entire 2nd book. I forget which one of Dune Messiah I think is the 2nd one.
So, yeah.
I think he wants to make a trilogy that adapts the first 2 books in total. Is kind of where he wants to do his telling
his
of
mark
these stories.
On the Dunes, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So at least this one will finish up with the first book.
I think this one will feel more like a finale than. Like it's not going to feel like a middle chapter necessarily, even though it might become one.
Either way, whatever. But at least it should. If it's covering all the material of the first book, or it's concluding the first book, then it'll feel like a solid.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it'll have an element of finality to it, with obviously more story, hopefully to come. I'm sure this in Dune, the first one, feel like it came out very COVID times. This one, shouldn't really have those concerns to worry about in terms of box office potential, going to HBO Max, day and date, that sort of shit. So I just hope this movie does really fucking well. Because this is the type of shit that obviously a lot of money was poured into, and I think people should be seeing like fucking event movies like this. Don't
watch this fucking speedboat in your bathtub. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's the kind of movie that like you go to a theater. Some of the other movies we talked about: Argyle, Lisa Frankenstein, Madam Web, Drive Away Dolls. However you feel about any of those movies, you could probably make an argument that you could watch those at home and probably get the same level of enjoyment out of any of them. Whether it's because they're really bad and, you know, at least you could pause it and turn it off or whatever. But like Dune, you lock in. You lock in for 2.5, 240, almost 3 hours, whatever it is.
And you're along for a ride.
And you just hopefully are enraptured by the visuals, the audio, all of it. You just go to Arrakis for a bit. You know what I mean? 3 hours of your life you're in Arrakis and you're good. You know, you're locked in and that's it. Your phone's off. Don't bring your fucking phone out. Put your fucking phone away.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
People don't know how to act these days, but put your fucking phone away for Dune. Go see it at an Alamo Draft House, I guess. That's one way of avoiding that shit. They'll kick you out for doing that. Don't go to an AMC or a Regal because they don't enforce their fucking... Like, oh, we'd prefer if you didn't look at your phone the whole time or played YouTube on your phone the whole time or played phone games on your phone the whole time, but we're not going to do anything about it. Until someone in the theater just says, turn your fucking phone off. And that's one way to do it, is to get personal with that shit. I'm watching Dune fucking Part 2. You put your fucking phone away. It's disrespectful to Denny.
It is
disrespectful to Denny.
Denny
you
and
this
Timmy.
Shit at home, you can take your fucking speedboat in the bathtub and go fuck yourself with it. Is how I feel about that. So then you get shot. So you don't do that. Don't do that because people will fucking shoot you for doing that. But
you get the guy that eats corn and green beans and shit.
You got the corn. He's mentally unstable. You do not want to fuck with this man. You just let him eat his corn on the cob and let him be because you will get fucking... He will
what
wear
movie
your skin
was that?
By the end of the night. It was Indiana Jones. Oh, I remember. It was Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Jesus Christ. Fucking Tupperware.
So if you don't want your skin worn, then maybe don't get too confrontational with things, but, you know, it is what it is. So, anyway, I think we said our piece on Dune Part 2. Maybe got a little unhinged and a little off course by the end there, but that's okay. March 8th is bringing us Kung Fu Panda 4, which is originally end of March. They actually have moved it around, I think, because they're avoiding a bigger movie tail end of March. March 8th is getting us Kung Fu Panda 4. And you might think, okay, do I fucking give a shit? I don't know. I mean, Jack Black, we like Jack Black, obviously. But I included some kids, you know, some animated movies here, probably ones that are a little more catered towards children. Maybe you're not going to see this in a theater. I don't expect you to go see Kung Fu Panda 4 in a theater. You're going to be seeing Dune Part 2 for a second or a third time if you're going to a theater at that point, But maybe it's going to come to streaming in a few months, and maybe Baby B says, I really like Jack Black too, because he's talking at that point. Probably not. But he's making words.
March.
He's making words at that point. You know, Panda. Kung Fu. Maybe Kung Fu will be his first words. You never know. And so maybe Kung Fu Panda 4 might hit the mark for what Baby B is looking to watch at that point in time. So, you know, he'll be, you know, not quite one, I guess. You know, still
approaching
still
one.
got some growing to do.
Yeah.
But Kung Fu Panda movies. You watched any of them?
Nope.
You had any interest in this?
Never seen any of them.
Did this make you? Did you even watch the trailer? You're just like, I don't care.
No, I watched the trailer. I don't know why I've never seen any of the Kung Fu Pandas, but I never have.
They're pretty good. I don't think I've seen all of them. I think I've seen the first two, but I think they're pretty good for like what they are.
Skadoosh.
Skadoosh, yeah, and then the Skadoosh got turned around on him by the copycat, you know, the chameleon at the end, which is good. Yeah, I mean, honestly, you could do a lot worse in terms of putting some animated shit on for the baby. Like this, to me, the Kung Fu Panda movies are the great kind of animated movie where it's like kids are gonna love it, but you can sit there and be like, "This is good. I'm having fun with this."
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's what you aim for with all those animated movies. You know?
Correct. You want to thread the needle of everyone liking it, everyone getting some level of enjoyment out of it. You know, so I think the Kung Fu Panda ones, the early ones, definitely hit that mark for me. So yeah, maybe not a theater trip for us, but maybe it's a good movie to watch sometime down the road.
Good little animated movie to watch with the baby.
Yeah, exactly. Now, March 22nd, I think that I will be going to theaters to see Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. How about you? You think you'll be able to?
Yeah, shit looks funny.
This one, or want to anyway?
They did a good job with this. The fourth time trying to remake Ghostbusters or whatever.
They've done it a few times. Obviously, this is technically a Afterlife sequel, you know, because you got Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon and all the other characters that the kids, Stranger Things kid and the other kid, the girl, like they're all in this obviously from Afterlife. But this to me, I don't know. It looks fresher, more interesting. It doesn't feel like it's doing... I mean, it is very much still doing some of the same old beats of, He's still got the little Stay Puft marshmallow thing, miniature things. You've got Slimer, it looks like, at one point. You've got the library ghost. But the actual central villain of it and the conceit of it with like the frozen summer sort of thing actually feels very fresh and different from the rest of the Ghostbusters franchise. And the cast is charming as all hell, you know, and you're bringing back the OGs. Like, I don't know. So this, to me, looks not only very entertaining, but very funny, and just kind of hit the right sort of mark. And Afterlife was a movie that I liked, but I didn't love.
Right.
To me, this looks like it's building on what that movie set up, and going above and beyond with it. You know what I mean? So that's how I felt about it. There's a particular line in this trailer which was incredible, which I think you might have sent to me in a text message as we were prepping for the episode. I don't know if you wanted to touch on that yourself.
Yeah. What's he
and
say?
Steal your thunder.
Bustin' makes me feel good.
And it's not just the line itself, which obviously is fantastic. It's the
whole setup,
Parker
though,
Jr.
You know.
But it's Paul Rudd delivering it, and just the most Paul Rudd, beautiful sort of way.
Can I tell you something?
Bustin' makes me feel good.
It's great. Paul Rudd is a national treasure.
Fantastic.
Absolutely,
he's awesome. Just love that man. Love that man. One thing I didn't mention, I completely forgot to mention, but Paul Rudd has reminded me. We're recording this before the Super Bowl, so there's almost certainly a bunch of Super Bowl shit, you know, movies and like trailers and stuff for things.
Oh yeah.
To this point, we have not mentioned anything, and the reason for that is because none of that has come out yet. So I'm reminded of Paul Rudd because he's a big Chiefs fan. Chiefs are playing the 49ers. We'll see who wins.
Yeah. We'll almost
Taylor
undoubtedly
Swift.
see him at some point.
Taylor Swift might be there if she can make the trek from Japan on time or something like that.
Oh, she'll make it on time. She's a fucking
she'll
Democrat,
make it there on
fucking
time.
psyop.
That's right. That's right. Sure, of course. And she wouldn't miss the chance to.
CIA is going to fucking plant her there. You know,
everyone watching. You know,
holograms or
it's like
some shit.
it's like Batman Forever. There's like the device where like they hook it up to the TV and like the people watching it, like their minds are getting melted. It's that sort of shit. I think that's what's going to be happening because everyone's all eyes are on the Super Bowl. You don't care about football, you're still fucking watching that shit. You know what I mean? So all eyes will be on that screen.
Jesus
Everyone's
Christ.
brain is getting transformed into. I don't know. I guess
It's amazing. They're turning the fucking frogs gay.
they're turning the frogs gay. They might be doing that. Everyone's going to be super woke. You know, it's just.
Oh man, 2024 is an exciting year, guys.
We're going to live in a liberal hellscape after early February, something like that, or whatever. However, the conspiracy theory goes, I actually am still not 100% sure. And you know what? I'm not going to look any deeper because my brain cells do not want that because they would die. They would die a horrible, horrible, painful death. But Ghostbusters looks quite good to talk about that. March 22nd, Paul Rudd, great. Chiefs, yes, that's how we got there. March 29th, we'll bring Godzilla times Kong, The New Empire. Hey, is it going to be better than the last Godzilla movie we got? No, it's not. Godzilla -1 will still definitely be better. I'm confident in saying that. That's one of my bold predictions, hot takes for the year. But this could be fun. Godzilla he's got a robot arm transformer hand, or Kong does rather, and they're fighting a big Kong,
like an orangutan.
He's an orangutan. Yes, so I don't think it's going to be great, but it'll probably be pretty entertaining. Big monsters fighting. We like monsters fighting sometimes.
Yeah. Generally, it's pretty cool.
Generally pretty cool, and not Dune Part 2 level of spectacle. But the kind of movie I do think that would probably benefit from a Dolby, from a theater experience versus a watching at home.
Big monster, man.
Will we necessarily do it? I don't know. Dune Part 2, Ghostbusters, and Godzilla. When's the last time we covered 3 movies in a month? Probably pre-baby, I would guess.
Definitely pre-baby.
But maybe, just maybe. We'll see what happens. So, anything on Godzilla? We talked about it fairly recently. I don't feel like we need to rehash it too much here. How about April 5th? A new movie we have definitely not talked about called Monkey Man, directed by, partially written by, I think, Dev Patel.
Wow, of the Green Knight.
Produced by Jordan Peele.
Ooh.
Not of the Green Knight, but of other things that are good and all that. So, this was an out-of-nowhere movie, I think. Didn't know anything about it until the trailer dropped, and then I watched it, and I think April 5th, I might find my ass in a theater. I don't know. What do you think?
I agree. I was expecting one thing. Like, I was expecting, like, just straight up like Raid or like in John Wick or
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then it kind of turned into like there's a little bit of comedy in there too.
Or when he jumps against the window, I think particularly.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I was kind of expecting him to go through the window. He did not go through the window, and he bounced back. Right. And then there's like a scooter bit, and so not quite sure what we're going to be getting. It's definitely not Dread. It's definitely not Raid. It's definitely not John Wick. It's not a self-serious.
But it's sort of, you know, certainly bits and pieces of that, like the action where it is as hard hitting and you know, it feels very much in line with those movies where it
looks like it definitely
pretty
could
raw.
Yeah. I also really like the bit with the drums, the hand drums, like the Indian kind of music vibes, and the story of the ape, and it definitely seems like a pretty cool mythos that they're weaving here. I'm real excited about it.
Yeah, I think visually this looks really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Hell of a trailer at a bare minimum.
Yes,
I will
absolutely.
Say. Really, really stylishly edited, put together trailer. Another directorial debut. This is Dev Patel's directorial debut, and it looks very accomplished.
Looks like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, no, again, completely out of nowhere thing where I'm like, oh fuck, you know, like we're not getting John Wick Chapter 5 or whatever, but we're getting this, and this feels like it's coming around the same time frame. Kind of hit maybe some of the same marks, do it with a little dash of humor and stuff. And Dev Patel, man, he's great. He's a great actor. I'm excited to see him obviously in front of the screen here too, but definitely curious to see what kind of chops he's bringing behind the camera. And so far, it looks mighty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool looking movie. So again, March into April there's a lot of ones that are taking a lot of boxes of like, shit, I really want to see this. Almost certainly we won't be able to cover all of these, is my unfortunate guess, but we can always see movies without covering them, is how I feel about things.
Yeah, talk about them in the catching up or whatever, figure it out.
Come around to streaming VOD later on down the line, we could still see these movies. April 12th might be a theater trip though for you, would be my
for sure
speculation, because Alex Garland's back with another movie called Civil War. This one looks pretty fucking wild.
This looks like a pretty chilling
A24.
movie.
Yeah, it's maybe a little too close to reality in some ways.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if that's gonna, how is that gonna affect the enjoyment of this? Is it gonna feel like this is not great? I mean, one thing that Anna pointed out when we're watching is like Texas and California. Like, all right, maybe they're intentionally picking two states that we feel like probably would not align with each other. And so that's one way of making it like clearly established is like, yes, this is quite clearly inspired by, real life events, but this is maybe the far-fetched aspect of it that makes it feel
it's like, what's the
fictional
conflict
enough to separate it. Yeah.
What's the crux of the conflict is another big thing.
I guess maybe the idea is like, hey, I mean, if anyone's going to be able to stand up to the rest of the states, why don't you pick two of the biggest states, smash them together? Then you actually have, a lot of people that could arguably, be able to stand up, in this scenario in a new civil war, a future civil war. So, I think visually and everything, it looks really good. Good cast here. Alex Garland, man. I mean, writing, directing.
He's got something to say.
We know that he knows what he's doing, and he's another one that I think I didn't see Men. I haven't watched Men. I can't speak to that. But
you haven't watched
things
Men?
That I have seen, I never watched Men. I never got around to it.
Wow.
I'm sure I will at some point, but I think to this point, for me personally, Alex Garland has not missed. I think both, generally speaking, writing standpoint, directing standpoint, definitely, of the things that I've seen, and this just looks like another one, kind of, and his resume that is going to be pretty hard hitting. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. It looks.
What would be cool
it looks
is
like it's going to be something very different than anything we've seen, at least recently.
People can watch a movie or something, and then it kind of just like changes things in like real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, maybe like if we keep fighting amongst each other, maybe this is something that could probably happen. This seems way too close to home. maybe we should be less hateful towards each other or something like that.
Yeah, maybe this is a
cool.
warning sign. Like, is this really what you want? You know, January 6thers, is this really what you want? You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways, it looks really compelling. I'm, as we all know, I'm a huge Alex Garland fan, and I will. That'll definitely get my butt in a seat at theaters. So, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah. All right, so that's Civil War, April 12th. Now, moving on, April 19th. We're getting a little horror in April for some goddamn reason. By the name of Abigail. It's a little girl, but maybe there's a little something going on with that little girl. Maybe she's not some regular little girl. This is a trailer to me that looked very interesting and fun, and I also feel like I saw the whole movie in it. Is kind of my unfortunate takeaway from the movie. Like, I felt like there's a lot of reveals in this that I feel like would have been really interesting to see, but at the same time, how do you get people to watch this movie if you don't give them as much as you do in this trailer? So, good cast. Melissa Barrera, Dan Stevens, Catherine Newton, not to be confused with Natalia Dyer, also in this. I have to imagine
It's so funny because I was like, damn, this girl's killing it this year. 24 is her year. You know?
Well, yeah.
But I'm not wrong. I was just wrong about, what person I was thinking of.
Probably one of the final, if not the final acting performances from Angus Cloud, who's in this. And then Giancarlo is here as well, Giancarlo Esposito. So, what'd you think about this? Did this do anything for you?
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun. I like the premise.
This could be the M3gan of 2024, perhaps. Yeah. Maybe that's the analog, is like just a fun premise for a horror movie done well. Yeah. And released in a time where you're like, why is a horror movie coming out now? I don't know, but I guess I'll watch it.
Yeah. It's cool. Breaks up the monotony a little bit, and it looks like a lot of fun. It looks, I'm with you. You seem like you feel like you've seen most of the movie. I agree. But it does look like it looks pretty well made. So yeah, I'm there for it.
Right on. Well, the same day, it's going to be competing with Guy Ritchie's latest. I swear Guy Ritchie is making fucking 2 movies a year. Like, dude the man won't stop. He just won't stop.
Paychecks.
But he's teaming up with Henry Cavill for the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Got a trailer for that as well. Did it do anything for you?
No.
Are you ready for Guy Ritchie's latest? Not digging it? Henry Cavill, he's got like a little stash. It's twirling off on the sides. Yeah. That's not enough for you?
He's like, hey.
Not enough for you anymore?
Hey, Henry, I got an idea. Why don't you stick out your tongue? Yeah, stick your tongue out every time you shoot your gun.
You don't like that? That's not for you?
It's like, man, maybe like the first time I saw it. Okay,
every time
this guy
looks a little silly.
It's almost like George. Hey, Dwayne, say George a bunch of times.
George. Yeah, right. George. Don't destroy the city, George.
Henry Cavill, you're playing an unhinged guy. What do unhinged guys do? Oh, they stick out their tongues. Yeah, do that.
That's your character now.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. This doesn't look like anything. This looks like Guy Ritchie paycheck. Is what this looks like.
I don't know if I agree. I mean, yes, Guy Ritchie definitely works for a paycheck, but this to me still, it felt like it had Guy Ritchie flair to it. Like, I feel like Guy Ritchie Paycheck was that one with Jake Gyllenhaal that we didn't see, where it was just like, this is a Guy Ritchie movie, where it feels like it doesn't have the
it doesn't feel like Guy Ritchie
style,
right?
Yeah, this to me definitely feels Guy Ritchie-y. It's definitely ridiculous and silly. I don't know. To me, this looks like it could be the right sort of entertaining type of Guy Ritchie movie.
Well, I hope so.
He did one with Statham when it was just like it was a Jason Statham movie and not a Guy Ritchie movie, and that's not what you want, So that's that. To me, this feels Guy Ritchie. But to be fair, dude's just. He's been pumping them out. So, who knows? It feels like
with Guy Ritchie, that's what you either get. You either get paycheck Guy Ritchie or you get Guy Ritchie that's very devoted to the project. And
yeah. I don't know. I don't know. All right. Well, I'll disagree with you. I think this looked like fun, but, one of us is going to be right. One of us is going to be wrong. And we may not find out on April 19th, but maybe someone will take the
But then again, we might go see that instead of Abigail,
We could, or we could see neither.
Or
we could watch Civil War. We could see Dune Part 2 again. Who's to say? We might be, it's been a month and a half. Oh, fuck it, I want to watch it again. All right, rounding out April 26th, Challengers. No trailer for. There is a trailer for this. I didn't ask you to watch it. I figured I'd just tell you a little bit about it. Maybe you've seen a trailer here and there. It's Zendaya. It's a Zendaya movie directed by Luca Guadagnino, who did Call Me by Your Name, and more recently, I think Bones and All. So he's a big fan of Mr. Timothée Chalamet.
Okay,
and Timothée Chalamet's co-stars with Zendaya in Dune and Dune Part 2. So there's that. So it's about the wife and coach of a Grand Slam being tennis champion, who signs him up for a challenger event where he will face off against her former lover. So it's kind of that, and there does seem to be like a romance angle and stuff from what I can tell.
Okay.
So there is a trailer out there if you're curious about this sort of thing, but it's a Zendaya-led thing that seems like it could be a little steamy, maybe in parts perhaps from the trailer. So yeah, anything about that stand out to you?
Zendaya
maybe
stands out.
Enough said.
Call Me by Your
Name
Name's supposed to be a pretty good thing, isn't it?
Call Me by Your Name is very good. Has the unfortunate taint of Armie Hammer being one half of the pairing in that movie, but Timmy's very good. Armie Hammer is very good in it too. But
we just know he likes to eat people and shit. So
yeah, well, at least likes to think that he wants to eat people and stuff, and express that outwardly to people. It's the sort of thing you should keep to yourself. Just saying, hopefully you don't have those thoughts in the first place, and it's a non-issue. But definitely don't tell people that. But yeah, no, it's very good. Good director. Good, Zendaya alone is probably enough to be like, yeah, okay, fair enough. So yeah, could be something. We'll keep tabs on it. But we're gonna move on to May 3rd. The Fall Guy, the Goose, Mr. Ryan Gosling himself, the Oscar nominee, is playing a stuntman, being directed by Emily Blunt.
Yeah, that looked cool.
This is from David Leitch, director of one half the director of John Wick, but also Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, Hobbs and Shaw, and Bullet Train. So it's a very over the top action sort of thing, which I think looked like a bit of fun, as I recall from the trailer.
Yes,
we got a little while back. It was originally set for March. I think it's been delayed. I don't know the exact reason for the delays, or maybe they just wanted to prime it more for a summer release. But it looked like fun from when we talked about the trailer, and great cast, good. Like David Leitch does action very well, and I feel like this kind of having the meta stuff with it being about movie making and stunts and stuff could make for a very fun experience. A good summer blockbustery kind of movie is my assessment of it. So that's The Fall Guy. What do you think?
I 100% agree. 110%.
Yeah.
I thought it looked like a lot of fun.
May 10th, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Another one we talked about, the trailer pretty recently. This is apparently starting a new trilogy after the last trilogy we had with the Caesar trilogy with Andy Serkis' Caesar. This is kind of a new era of the Planet of the Apes. It's sort of a Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Someone would say, you might say. I think it looks pretty good visually. I mean, I think they really definitely got the mocap stuff down pat with those three.
Yeah.
If nothing else, this movie coming out makes me want to watch those three.
Those three are incredible movies. Yeah.
I do think that's solid bonus episode territory, saying it on the record, obviously. But I could, right now we've been doing one-off bonus episodes, one movie at a time. But I think 3 is not a crazy concept. We could do 3. We could always do it one at a time, too, to be fair. But I would like to revisit those. I think I will revisit those. It's a question of, do we want to talk about them? Because those are movies we never talked about on the podcast.
Not one of them? We never talked about
Not as... the last one came out before we started.
Really?
So it was the year, I think it was 2017. And so I think as I recall, I talked about it on our very first episode as something that I had seen, but we never did an episode proper on it, which is to say we never did an episode proper, obviously, on either of the other two as well. So, and it's a trilogy that I think definitely holds up. Matt Reeves, I think, directed 2 and 3, obviously went on to do the Batman. So I'm excited about this, and like I said, if nothing else, then it's an excuse. Even if this one doesn't live up to maybe what the trilogy set up, it's a good excuse to revisit those movies and maybe talk about them if we feel like it. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Spitballing a bit. May 17th, If, Imaginary Friends. John Krasinski, is behind the director's. He's sitting in the director's chair again. He's behind the camera. That's where he is. That's where he's behind. And he's given us If. Ryan Reynolds he's in front of the camera this time, as he typically is. Very kind of bonkers, sort of out there thing. Lots of CG creatures and stuff being brought to life, imaginary monsters and stuff. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about it?
It looks like a little baby B movie.
Little baby B movie. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
This looks like another one of those movies that may be a musical that they don't want to tell you about.
Could have musical aspects to it. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I saw some.
I don't know if it's full on musical though. I think there might just be sequences
of musics.
Possibly.
I mean, it looks okay.
Yeah,
John Krasinski's a pretty talented dude, so I imagine.
Yeah, and this feels very much. I mean, I feel like everything he's directed thus far has just been the Quiet Place movies, and like this is so radically different than those that it kind of feels like it's maybe fun to be able to see him step out of that.
Sure.
For something just completely, tonally different and opposite to that. So we'll see if it works. I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like, I think the CG is intentionally kind of not that good for like, because they're all kind of fake imaginary creatures.
Sure.
So some of it looks kind of janky by nature. But I don't know. It's an interesting concept. You know, I think the drawback of that is there was not a moment in this trailer where I looked at Ryan Reynolds and thought Ryan Reynolds actually thinks he's in a room with this thing. You know what I mean? It very much felt like Ryan Reynolds in a group of tennis balls acting. You know, and obviously it's early days. This is May. We're many months away from having this movie, but I'm not the movie because of the designs. It doesn't feel like it's something that it's going to feel super realistic. It's a weird thing to hold against it, so I'm not really going to, but it did stand out to me of it feeling very effects heavy in a way that is not...
It's going to detract from the performances.
Not effective in the way that Godzilla -1 was or something like that,
sure.
Obviously. So, but May 24th, oh my goodness, what a double feature. What a double feature we have for May 24th. On one hand, we have Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, which... You know, big shoes to fill following up Mad Max Fury Road. George Miller's back in tow. He's got Anya Taylor-Joy instead of Charlize Theron playing Furiosa. He's got Chris Hemsworth being Australian as fuck. You know, and they went out in the desert and shot some shit. Maybe there's some CG. This one's a little CG from the first trailer that we got as well. But it's a fucking Mad Max movie, which, again, to evoke kind of the thing we talked about with Apes, is like, hey, we'll talk about Fury Road, won't we? So there's that. But it looks like it has the potential to be something good. Probably not Fury Road levels of good, but could be worthwhile in its own.
Yeah, can they capture lightning in a bottle? Right? Can they do? Well, I mean,
it
can
could
they
also
do it again
not
as
be
a
that.
question? But even if they don't do that, is it going to be serviceable?
I'm less
to the
confident
franchise?
in something like this than like a Dune, where it's just like, like we were pretty confident that Dune's going to deliver on expectations at a minimum. This one is very much an open-ended question of, is this even going to work? You know,
right,
like,
exactly.
You know, so I think that's the question for that. But I'm happy to check it out and
for
see
sure
what the answer is. You know, could be disappointing, obviously, but I'm happy to see George Miller just fucking go for it with shit like this. Great.
It's like
is the kind of movie that is cool to see.
Better to love and lost than never to love at all. You know, so just go
like
check it out.
And on the other hand, May 24th, you know, as you finish up Furiosa, or maybe you might need a palate cleanser, and you'll be like, I just want to listen to the soothing tones of Chris Pratt, but there's no Mario movie coming out in the near future. That's probably going to be a couple of years away. Oh, he's doing the exact same voice in the Garfield movie. Great. Great.
It's just Chris Pratt. It's just Chris Pratt talking. That's all it is.
He's just Chris Pratting about, and that's all he's doing. This is Chris Pratt saying, "This is the most paycheckiest paycheck I've ever held in my life, and I am loving life." Because they didn't even ask me to do a voice. I'm not even doing like a pseudo Brooklyn thing here. I'm not even doing like a little Italian thing. I'm just fucking Chris Pratt, and that's great for me. Not for anyone listening, but it's great for me.
Yeah. And what's your investment in Garfield?
I like Garfield. I don't love Garfield. Garfield's fine.
Like, would you get in on Garfield on? Like, what's your introduction to Garfield?
Newspapers, like actual comic strips. To be honest, yeah. Yeah, like little comic strips. I like the Sunday paper always had like the colored cartoons. And so I liked the Garfield ones. I found them generally pretty entertaining.
Okay.
Yeah, that was kind of my background with Garfield. Not the Bill Murray voiced Garfield. Should we forget about the last time we had a Garfield movie or two? I think there might have been two of them.
There was two Garfield movies, yeah.
So that's my experience with Garfield is actually like the comic strip. Like I was not someone that went out of my way to read Garfield, but as it was there with other things, I liked it.
Whenever you looked at the paper or whatever, you sought out, you would seek out the Garfield as a little kid. Yeah. Okay. And you put the fucking putty thing on there. And did you ever do that to peel off the fucking?
I think I'm sure I would have, not regularly, but I do feel like I have done that in my lifetime. That sounds familiar. It's like,
you pop open the egg looking stuff and you pull that gel out.
Yes. Yep. There's a recess in my brain that was just like, yeah, no, that's ringing some bells actually.
The old synapses in the brain.
Yeah, they're firing in an unusual in a way that hasn't been felt for a long, long time. What about you? Are you a Garfield guy? Big Garfield guy?
No, I didn't have a lot of exposure to Garfield. I think there may have been a Cartoon Network or some sort of cartoon.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably.
It was on there. It was almost like a Scooby-Doo-ish kind of deal, and that sort of same style of animation with Garfield. But very limited exposure to Garfield. So I feel like I was never quite on that train.
Yeah. Okay. Well, are you on the train now with the Garfield movie?
No, Chris Pratt did not sell me on fucking Garfield.
I liked everything in this trailer up until the point where Chris Pratt started voicing it, which we know was going to be the entire movie. So,
yeah, I thought it looked really cute in the beginning.
Yeah, like the little baby Garfield and the Italian restaurant and John, like the animation style actually I think is nice. I think it's a good representation of the visual style of the original strip, the comic strip. But man, just literally anyone but Chris Pratt, and I think that maybe I'm like, yeah, maybe this is something.
Danny DeVito would have made a fucking excellent Garfield.
I'm going to stand by it. Literally fucking anyone, I think. You make Garfield a woman. You're going to upset a lot of the internet probably, but I don't give a fuck. It's still better than Chris Pratt. Just the most bland and uninspired choice. And again, he's just not doing anything. He's just doing his thing, and it's like,
just reading from the script.
I'm kind of just off the Chris Pratt train at this point for sure, but it's like, he just did Mario. And he didn't really do it that different from his own thing. So it's like, why are Mario and Garfield the same voice? It's fucking weird and not right. And again, he shouldn't have been Mario in the first place. So maybe that's the bigger issue, the underlying issue. But like, I don't know, man. Way to kill. I mean, I didn't give a shit about this movie, obviously, in the first place. I'm not disappointed by Chris Pratt's casting. I knew he was Garfield walking into this trailer, but I was stunned by how just nothing it is as a result of that. So, yeah, Furiosa is getting my money on May 24th. Right. Counter programming, I think, is probably maybe the idea here. Is kids movie, something that's definitely going to be rated R. But yeah, I know where I will be. I know where I will be sitting. Which auditorium? Let's put it that way. You ready for some June action?
Yeah. What do we got in June?
June 7th, well, we got The Monkey Man, in April. We're not getting John Wick Chapter 5, but we are getting a John Wick spinoff called Ballerina, starring Ana de Armas as the titular ballerina. It's a mid-cool, I think. It's between 3 and 4 of the John Wick, so Keanu's in it. Lance Reddick filmed some stuff before he died, unfortunately. Ian McShane's in it as Winston. And Jonathan will be in it, as I said. So, it's we're not quite getting more full on John Wick, but we're getting a little extra slice of the universe, a little spinoff action. We're now at the spinoff stage of John Wick.
That's cool.
In for that?
Yeah. I like Ana de Armas.
Mm-hmm.
She's cool. And she's kicking ass. She was awesome in what was that?
She handled a gun very well in Bond.
That's what it was. It was Bond. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. She was cool in that movie.
No Time to Die. Yes, I think that was one she was in.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm all about it, 110%.
Yeah, I agree. John Wick is one of those things that I'm kind of like all in on at this point. So it's like more the merrier is how I feel about it. They can make a John Wick Chapter 5 if they figure out a way to pick up
until they give you a reason not to. Did you ever watch
ended.
that spinoff, The Continental?
Oh, I guess I should maybe backtrack slightly. I did not watch that. That one did feel a little more unnecessary. But I mean, it was like 3 like 90-minute things, so it's like relatively short for like kind of what it was trying to do, and like 3 little mini movie kind of deals, which is it's kind of interesting. I think it was supposed to be okay. Nothing too special. But like fine. Again, for the people that are like super duper in on John Wick, it's an extra thing for them to enjoy, sort of thing. So
and that's
I'm
cool.
fine with it from that perspective.
Yeah.
Now, June 14th is Inside Out 2. Pixar is bringing us an Inside Out sequel. Got a teaser trailer for it. Inside Out is something you watched more recently. Am I making that up?
Yeah, we watched it when during the 2 weeks that we were home with baby when he was just born.
Okay. All right. I had that in my mind of something that this was something you came to later.
Yeah.
And it had an emotional impact on you?
Yeah, I wept, as I do with most things.
Sure, but especially animated things.
Yes.
There's a certain point where it's all over. The tears are going to start coming. But what do you think about Inside Out 2 happening?
I think
anxiety is creeping in.
Yeah, I thought it looked great. I mean, it's real small. It's real small snippet.
Very much not giving you the full plot. Just a very vague notion of what the movie is going to involve. Basically, she's getting older. Riley's getting older. She's getting new emotions that she's going to experience.
Yeah,
which,
gives rise to new emotions. I think it's a really awesome premise. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be real enjoyable. First one was awesome.
I haven't seen the first one in a long time. So yet another example of great. I will watch Inside Out for the first time since it wrecked me in probably 2015. And you know what? It is one of those things like, well, I mean, for you, new baby and everything, of course it fucking slammed you and walloped you. I think it would have done that regardless of Baby B being there.
Sure, right? But just puts it under...
I think just when you get older, you soften up a little bit. You're not as edgy and cool as you were when you were in your youth. So like that's the kind of movie where just like, oh man. Oh man, So
yeah,
and I Pixar is super duper capable of delivering on it yet again. Especially as like she's as she's getting older, it just feels like it's going to get even more kind of mature, potentially with kind of the territory that it explores. So,
and the nostalgia in the first one was really cool too. Like just like the feeling of like the emotions you feel as a kid and stuff. It's really cool. It's a really awesome premise.
Yep.
Just wildly creative. So, yeah, definitely there for Inside Out, too.
All right. June 28th, yet another double feature. This first part of it is really, really interesting. This first part of the first part. Horizon and American Saga. Kevin Costner has decided, I want to make a 2-part theatrical event of an epic Western. So he's starring in this with a pretty extensive cast: Sienna Miller, Sam Worthington, Jenna Malone, Michael Rooker, a shit ton of other fucking people. And it's this pre and post American Civil War thing depicting the expansion of the American West is what this is supposed to be. June 28th, we're getting chapter 1 of it. So we got a little bit of a teaser, kind of mostly setting up the dates and then being like, look, it's Kevin Costner and Western shit shooting a gun. Okay. What do you think about the idea of this? A 2-part Western, epic Western.
Kevin Costner is a historically epic filmmaker. I think he's got one called like The Mailman. I know he's got Waterworld. I watched both of those a lot when I was a little kid. I thought those were cool movies. I don't know if they hold up. I don't know if they're particularly good.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I remembered enjoying them quite a bit when I was younger. I think he's a good actor and a good filmmaker, and I like westerns. I'm predisposed to like westerns. I think it's a really I don't know. It's interesting.
Not to get, yeah, well, I would say not to get too far off base, we'll rein it in. Did you always like Westerns? Were you, like, even when you were younger, were Westerns a genre that you enjoyed?
Yeah, they were always on in the house.
Okay. All right, so you grew up on it. All right, yeah, that's that makes sense.
Bonanza and the Ponderosa, and then you talk about, like, Westerns, so like Dances with Wolves and
sure,
those sort of movies, which is also a Kevin Costner movie, I think.
I was just saying we all know who was in that, and he directed it as well. So
yeah. Last of the Mohicans. So that era of movies or in Westerns and stuff, I think are really cool. I think they're really compelling. I think it's a cool period in American history. So I think it could be cool. I think it could be real good.
Okay. Definitely interesting. The reason I asked is, like, I feel like a Western wasn't a thing that I grew up on, but it's like, to me, it's just like, there's a point in your life where suddenly Westerns become cool and interesting. Like, as you get older, you're just like, yeah, well, I like Westerns now. Because to me, it's like a quintessential old people thing. But I think it's just as you get older, somehow it just...
They're quiet movies. By nature, they're kind of quiet,
expands. Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
And they're I think
I say that, but then the Red Dead games, I think, are hugely popular too. So like the setting in general just can be really fucking interesting. But I do think Westerns as a genre definitely are kind of what you're saying. They're not as bombastic.
Yeah, they're a little bit more nuanced, and the flavor comes from the noise. You know what I mean? So, like, when something happens, it's just generally that's the thing that happens in the movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I think it's a cool genre. I think Kevin Costner is very capable. I think he's a very good. Yeah, I think he's a good actor.
It feels like this is kind of like his baby sort of thing of like what he's doing with
that. Makes me excited.
Yeah.
So
like, I think he co-wrote it. He's directing. He's starring in it. Like, he's produced. Like, he's all in on this shit. So yeah, I'm curious to see more footage from it, because there's really not a ton to go off of now. Just the idea of what this is.
Just him doing Yellowstone shit, cool.
Yeah. Well, because now he's done doing actual Yellowstone shit, so he's off doing this now. This is why he wanted to fuck off and only be on Yellowstone for 1 week in the last season of it. But June 28th will also bring us A Quiet Place Day One, a Quiet Place prequel.
Oh.
Which I think probably, if the title is any indication, is when everything went down. Day one, maybe. Might talk about day one. So I think new cast for this. It's like a spin-off prequel sort of thing. It's got Lupita Nyong'o in it, Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things, Djimon Hounsou is in it. He was in A Quiet Place Part 2, so there's that. I think that's some sort of connective tissue, because he was on like an island.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, Quiet Place prequel. What do you think?
Yeah, totally.
Yay or nay for this?
Very cool property. I'm all about it.
Story by John Krasinski, but screenplay and direction, like screenplay and being directed by someone else. So he's kind of handed off, I think, a little bit for this one, which may make it feel a little bit different, but maybe not necessarily a bad thing either. Is kind of have a different flavor of it. So yeah, could work. Now that we've had the interesting stories of like what it's like living in this world, maybe it might be fun now to go back and see how did this shit actually go down, because we see slices of it. Like, I feel like there's like a baseball scene in the beginning of Quiet Place.
Yeah.
The second one that starts where like shit goes down. So like picking up that could be really cool, and just seeing how everyone gets impacted by obviously this world shattering event could be neat. So, all right, we're halfway through the year, but we're winding down. We have a couple more trailers, and then we get to run through things fairly quickly, because it's later in the year. July 3rd, getting ready for the 4th Independence Day. You can watch Despicable Me 4. You could watch it if you wanted to.
Like the first two Despicable Me's. I don't know if I've seen the third one. I've always enjoyed the Minions. Yeah.
Did you put your suit on and go see Minions in theaters?
No.
Minions: The Rise of Gru, or whatever that one is?
The Rise of Gru, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or was that the second movie? I don't know. I don't know about all that.
There's a lot of them out there.
Minions are pretty fun. I used to play this game on, I think Ubisoft on the Wii or whatever, partnered with Minions and shit. Mm-hmm. And played a lot of video games with the Minions. Funny. It's a little.
So you like the franchise, so you're in for something like this?
Yeah, it's
maybe
okay.
not a theater trip, but a watch at home sort of thing.
Watch at home, Baby B, if he wants to put on some put on a tune while I take a shower and get ready in the morning. That'd be a good one to do.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's cool.
All right. What about July 12th when we're getting a little horror movie called Long Legs?
140% yes.
This is the last trailer that we have just to make that official. One that came out, I think, really recently. Neon movie, so, it's a little indie kind of shit. Yeah, out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
Hell of a trailer. Another really, really well done trailer.
So is it like Zodiac blended in with occult shit? It's kind of the vibe I got.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Do we actually see Nicolas Cage in this trailer? I don't recall.
No,
he's
he's like
seeing
it's like the Silence of the Lambs guy. It's like
yes, he's the serial killer that is the focus of the investigation.
I think that's fucking.
We're seeing.
I'm on.
Which sounds awesome.
I'm fucking there for that, man.
I mean, once upon a time, I wanted Nick Cage in True Detective as one of the detectives, but I never thought about the flip side of that. What if Nick Cage was he was the one that did it, the whole time? What if he was both a detective and the one that did it the whole time?
Oh man.
But no, this looks. I mean, it looked intense, scary, well shot. Like just
looks like a well-made movie.
Yeah, I feel like Neon. You see Neon in the front, you're like, all right.
Buckle up.
They don't put out just anything. You know what I mean? They do feel like next to A24 at this point. Like Neon that's the production logo where I'm just like, oh shit, okay, all right, or the distribution logo, or whatever they do, where it's just like, okay, something special in store here, and this looks like something special. So July 12th, we're getting this in theaters. July 19th, we're getting Twisters. Do you know what that is? Do you know anything about Twisters?
Is this a sequel to the Bill Pullman Twister?
Yes, this is a sequel. And many years later, kind of sequel. I don't think bringing back anyone. I could be wrong.
Because they all probably said the same thing I'm thinking.
Which is why? It's certainly possible that a lot of people said that exact thing.
It's fucking stupid. The first movie was good. It was a good movie.
It's been almost 30 years. I guess maybe the time is right. I don't really know.
But Universal got rid of the ride. And time moves on.
Is that
and
gone?
we leave these things behind.
Oh, shit. What did they replace that with? I forgot they got rid of. Oh, that's the Jimmy Fallon one?
I think so.
Isn't that what they took? Oh, fuck that, man. That's bullshit. I mean, it was lame. You just stood in a room and wind blew around, and it was super lame as like what it was. But like Jimmy Fallon is a fucking epitome of lame. So you can't get lamer than Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Fallon's dumb shit ride, which I haven't been on. Might be fine. Yeah, it's Twisters. Daisy Edgar Jones, Glenn Powell, Anthony Ramos. Directed by Lee Isaac Chung, who I mentioned earlier in the context of directing The Mandalorian, an episode of The Mandalorian, and also Skeleton Crew. But what I forgot to mention then is he also directed a 2020 movie called Minari. So,
stop.
Does that? Come on.
Why is he directing Twisters, man?
Cheddar cheese. Got the big bucks
I guess so. Maybe in order to, Oh my gosh, that's
maybe dude fucking loves tornadoes. Who's to say?
Fucking Twisters, Jesus.
Because I want to see the cows spinning around again.
Minari was such an incredible movie.
Great movie. Twisters, man. So you're not feeling Twisters. Maybe a trailer will convince you, or maybe it won't.
I mean,
it's all right. I don't have to push it. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm really not. I imagine the next thing you are looking forward to, July 26th, will bring Deadpool 3. Is that something that you maybe?
Yeah, that one sounds pretty good.
All right, because it's not just Ryan Reynoldsing about. It's Hugh Jackmaning about. He's jacking about. Oh my goodness, what are you doing, sir? Excuse me.
That huge Jackman is jacking about.
Oh my god,
but he's jacking about in a yellow and black costume.
Yellow and blue.
Or yellow and blue, and yeah, that's right, yellow, blue, and black.
Black accents. Yes, comic accurate Wolvie. Very exciting multiverse shit. This is Deadpool's introduction to the MCU proper. which is pretty fucking cool. And it's, even in spite of that, it's still going to be rated R. It's very much a Deadpool 3, very much a sequel to the first 2 Deadpool movies. So it seems like, and I should note, this is the only MCU movie we're getting in the entirety of 2024, which I think it's the first time since probably Iron Man 2 came out that we've had
really
a year with just one Marvel movie.
That's crazy.
Pretty crazy. It totally strikes related sort of thing, but still worth noting. So what do you think? Deadpool 3?
Yeah, totally. Especially since there's rumors that the PSYOP herself is going to be in it too. Did you see that?
Oh, she could be Dazzler. She could be. She could be dazzling the screens, and the people that didn't see the Super Bowl, maybe they'll show up for Deadpool 3. That way we get the rest of them.
Yeah,
get the rest of them.
The costume design on fucking Wolverine looks incredible. I think it's awesome.
Yes, it's great. I think he's going to wear the mask at some point. Kevin Feige that was probably a mandate. You can make your Deadpool movie, it can be rated R, but put that fucker in a mask finally.
Yeah. Fucking cool.
Jennifer Garner's back as Elektra in some capacity. I think it's going to be some variant of Deadpool kills the Fox universe. I think we're going to see a lot of
Mobius.
I don't know. Maybe Mobius. We could see Mobius in this. I think there does seem to be, from set pics and stuff, it does seem to be some sort of TVA connection.
Okay.
Maybe the Fox universe gets pruned and so they end up in the void or whatever. Something along those lines could be certainly what we see. The log line is Deadpool is going to change the history of the MCU with Wolverine. So there's going to be shenanigans afoot, I think.
What if they use Deadpool 3 to reset the Jonathan Majors shit? They use Deadpool 3 to reset.
They could do it to bring in mutants, like Deadpool fucked around with time and suddenly mutants are now a thing. There's so many avenues they could use Deadpool to just undo little things where it's just oh, that was a misstep. They could use it to explain why War Machine looks a little different in Iron Man 2. They could use it to explain why Hulk looks a little different in Avengers than he did in Incredible Hulk.
They could use them to correct any
and everything that was just
right.
Yeah, they're just and the reason that the wrong year was in the beginning of Spider-Man Homecoming, Deadpool's fault. Son of a bitch. He fucked with the timeline. No. And I really hope that they just swing for the fucking fences with this movie. If they're not swinging for the fences with Deadpool finally crashing with the MCU, then they're missing a trick. You know what I mean? And it just feels like this could be so fucking cool. So I'm very excited for Deadpool 3. Possibly a Super Bowl trailer is rumored. So we may be revisiting it before long, which is fine. I'm
excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, August 9th, Borderlands, the video game. It's getting a movie. Do you care?
Of course it is. No, not really.
Should we just leave it there?
Jeez.
Eli Roth is directing, I can tell you that. I think it was heavily reshot. I think apparently it tested very poorly, so they're reshooting or reshot quite a lot of it. I think with a different director, it's kind of one of those things where they're trying to rescue it in post-production. Which obviously is, very promising for anyone. They reshot the whole fucking movie so that it can be watchable. Oh, great. I want to see that one now.
I played Borderlands. It was a pretty fun game.
Yeah. There's a few of them. There's a Telltale one. I don't know. It's I think a fairly popular franchise, so it makes sense. Kate Blanchett is in it.
What?
Kevin Hart is in it.
Paycheck.
Jack Black is in it. Paycheck. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. Paycheck. So it might be a paycheck kind of movie for a lot of people, but it's actually a pretty good guess when you lay it out like that. So, hey, could be something, or it could be really bad.
Is this animated?
Nope, fully live action. I'm sure lots of CG and stuff, but it's live action. Yeah,
it's a misstep. They should have just made a fucking shell shaded, fucking crazy Borderlands movie. Okay, well, whatever. Yeah, it's coming out August 9th.
Yeah, well, we'll get a trailer for it, and we'll be able to fairly assess it then. August 16th is a big one. I don't believe we've talked about it all. Alien.
No, we haven't.
Romulus.
Romulus, huh?
Romulus, that's right.
It's a Roman
Upcoming
emperor, isn't it? Romulus.
American sci-fi horror film set between the events of the first Alien and Aliens. It's a mid-cool sort of thing. Yeah, directed by Fede Alvarez, who did the Evil Dead 2013 reboot cool. It's another fun word, like mid-cool, reboot cool. So, yeah, a new fucking Alien movie. Kaylee Spaney, Isabella Merced, I think are the two kind of leads in it, it would seem. That's kind of what we know about it right now. It was originally going to be a Hulu movie, and then at a certain point they made the decision, let's bump this up to a theatrical movie. And August 16th, just a few days after me birthday, we'll be getting a new Alien installment. And Ridley Scott is producing. We obviously have to address the Ridley Scott in the room and say that he is producing, but it doesn't appear that he's involved in any sort of major way beyond that. I'm sure, his production company is attached. I'm sure anything Alien basically has to pass through him, if nothing else. But Fede Alvarez, Alien movie, kind of a period piece sort of thing, could be interesting. Not a period piece, I guess, necessarily, because it's all in the future, but doing it, between these two movies that came out, 30, 40 years ago.
You're going to hopefully maybe try to match the aesthetic that was set for those movies.
Which was like a retro futuristic sort of thing. So, yeah, what do you think? Alien Romulus.
In capable hands. This is the Evil Dead guy, right?
This is the Evil Dead guy. Yeah.
Yeah, capable hands. So, treat that property with care and respect, please, and
do it right.
Fucking make something good. So we'll see. That's exciting. That's an exciting bit of news for the year.
Sure. August 16th will also mark part 2 of Horizon American Saga. Just wanted to note that. We can move on to August 30th, Kraven the Hunter. Finally, we almost had it in 2023, but Sony deprived us of it. But now we're getting it again.
So we can move on to September.
I'm not opposed. I'm fine with that. September 6th, Beetlejuice.
Oh, look at this title.
Look at that title, huh? It used to be Beetlejuice 2, and then they put out a little poster action, and it's called Beetlejuice, which I think is a great title.
It's actually
for
pretty
a sequel
good.
to Beetlejuice. It's very good. So Tim Burton's back. He's back in the saddle. Michael Keaton is back in the saddle as Beetlejuice. Oh shit, there he is. Winona Ryder's back. Catherine O'Hara's back. Jenna Ortega's a new addition. Monica Bellucci, Willem Dafoe. Great fucking cast.
Heck yeah.
And it's a sequel to a really, really awesome and super bizarre, weird fucking movie, and Beetlejuice, which is, I think, a classic, So.
Totally a classic. Wildly creative movie.
Unlike Twister to Twisters, yeah, make a Beetlejuice sequel. You're getting Michael. If you weren't getting Michael Keaton back, if you weren't getting Michael Keaton back, then I'd say fuck off. But with Michael Keaton, in here, yes, yeah, okay, yeah, you know what I mean. So, hell yeah, Beetlejuice. Then we'll get Beetlejuice. Oh shit, there he is again.
It makes you what? Like, how did the original Beetlejuice get made?
Tim Burton's a weird fuck.
It's a fucking out there movie. Like,
yeah, you're not wrong. I don't know. Tim Burton just had enough clout that we could just make some weird shit for
Tim Burton,
a good chunk of his life, and hey, not a bad thing. Not a bad thing.
No, not at all. Anyways, that's exciting. That's cool.
Definitely. September 13th, animated movie, Transformers 1. Not a live-action movie, to be clear. It's an animated... it's described as a prequel movie. I don't know if it's actually connected to some of the live-action stories, but it's a movie that will be set on Cybertron that's going to revolve around the relationship between Optimus Prime and Megatron.
Optimus Prime.
Because it's Transformers. That's kind of how it goes. But the voice cast is pretty good. Chris Hemsworth is playing Optimus Prime. Brian Tyree Henry is playing Megatron, and then other voices in the cast include Scarlett Johansson, John Hamm, Keegan-Michael Key, and Lawrence Fishburne. So some pretty solid voice talents in there. But it's a little animated Transformers deal. Anything about that do anything for you?
Yeah, Transformers is cool.
All right. Okay.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens with it. September 20th, movie called Wolves. Wolves. I'm sure you don't know anything about it, so I'll tell you about it. It's two professional fixers that find themselves hired for the same job, and it stars George Clooney and Brad Pitt as those two professional fixers. Written and directed by John Watts, who most recently did that Spider-Man trilogy. Prior to that, did stuff I think more akin to this. So anything about that? Cast, director, writer, premise, do anything for you? Wolves. Wolves.
Give me 2 seconds here. I could not process the words that came out of your mouth. I was fucking. I went down. I went down a fucking.
Wolves.
I went down.
Excuse me, sir. What did you say to me? Did you say wolves, not wolves? Wolves.
Fucking can't compute. Error. Can't compute. 404. I got a 404 code. I can't. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Why not? Okay. All right.
Okay.
I broke your brain. It's time to keep things moving. October 4th, Joker, Folia Duh.
That's another one that breaks my brain. Okay.
Jaquan, a.k.a. Jaquanda Phoenix, is back alongside Lady Gaga. Hey. She's playing Harley Quinn this time. This one is maybe a musical, and maybe, hey, remains to be seen. Are they going to advertise it as such? Open question. The first one was obviously really, really good, or really, really bad, depending on your perspective of it. So why not? It made a fucking $1 billion. Of course, we're getting a sequel to it. I'm gonna say that I don't really care, but I guess it could be something. Could be fine. Maybe. Who's to say? How I feel about it.
It's interesting. It feels like
the musical side of it feels like the people that liked the first one are not going to like musicals. That's how I feel about that. That's going to turn people off, I think.
I mean, it almost sounds like if it's a sequel to that first one, and if it's a musical, it almost just feels like from his perspective and then like a descent into madness almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think it could work thematically actually pretty well. I agree with that. I think it's just a matter of, is it enjoyable to watch or good? You know, that's where it gets a little like, I know Lady Gaga is fucking brilliant as a singer. I think Joaquin, himself obviously has some chops too, but like, is it gonna work? You know?
We throw all this shit in the blender. Can we get something decent?
I don't really trust Todd Phillips either. I think he's back for it directing, and I don't really trust him. So my bold prediction is I'm probably not gonna like it, but maybe it's also not for me anyway. So so be it. So
yeah, okay. Well, that's
all right. Yeah. Well, October 25th is going to bring us a double dose of some horror-y sorts of things. First up, Terrifier 3. I don't think we've really ever talked about the Terrifier movies. They're like very ultra-violent, gory, torture porn, slasher movies kind of thing.
Is this the clown?
With the clown, Art the Clown. And he does horrible things to people. And
what's this apparently they're like, about this movie?
They're like, I guess, pretty good for what they are. I think what they are is a very specific kind of thing. Definitely not Baby B certified kind of thing.
Okay.
But this one it's coming out around Halloween time, so it's very fitting, but it's also a Christmas themed one, I think is what it is, set around Christmas. So kind of fun. Not really my thing. Definitely not anything that I would want to watch with Anna or anything like that. So maybe not really for me, but I'm putting it out there because maybe it is for you, the listener, and that's okay. October 25th will also bring us The Wolf Man, which Ryan Gosling was attached to at one point and he has since dropped out of, but it's, Universal doing another thing of making their properties, into new movies and stuff like that. So I think that if I'm looking at things correctly, Lee Whannell is directing this. He's the one that did that Invisible Man movie a couple years ago, which was a pretty good little update of things. And it's going to now star Christopher Abbott, who he was one of the leads in Possessor, which is another fucking weird movie that I think came out the same year as Invisible Things, as in The Invisible Man. He's also in Poor Things and some. I think he's been in some other stuff fairly recently too. But he's now the Wolf Man. Oh, he's in Kraven the Hunter. Can't forget about that. Since we talked about it so briefly, got to make sure we stuff all the details we can about it. But yeah, there you go. There's some little horror things for those folks that like enjoying those sorts of things on Halloween time. 2 more months. November 8th. Venom 3.
Venom.
Come on.
Venom.
You know.
No.
Great. The third of the Sony trifecta, the holy trifecta we're getting from Sony this year in terms of Marvel shit. I can't remember if they've announced. I think they set up Toxin in the last one, you know, yet another symbiote villain. So who knows what the fuck they're doing with it. I mean, I know that these movies make money, but Jesus fucking Christ, just stop. Please let this be the last one. Tom Hardy, please stop doing dumb accent shit. Please just take serious roles from now on. I know you like a paycheck, but please, for the love of everything holy, please stop. So, Venom 3, it's happening. And someone will see it in November, I'm sure. But we'll also get Red 1. Red 1, The Rock. The Rock's got to be in a movie. Rock's in a movie with Chris Evans, Lucy Liu, J.K. Simmons. Red 1. I don't know what this movie's about. It's a Christmas action-adventure film written by the guy that wrote most of the Fast and Furious movies.
Okay. All right.
with The Rock and Chris Evans. So, I mean, I don't know how else to convince you other than telling you that. Plot is under wraps, but it's Christmassy. There's a
synopsises with people involved. That's going to be the crux of our show from now on. The Rock, I mean, Christmas action written by the guy that wrote Fast and Furious.
So I'm looking, there's some pictures that are out. J.K. Simmons maybe is playing Santa, but he's like Santa in a CW superhero type of outfit. The Rock has got a red, green leather sort of deal that he's wearing. Chris Evans has got like a little brown leather shit. So probably going to be terrible. Probably terrible.
Sounds like Jingle All the Way.
Kind of, yeah, kind of something like that, but probably also worse. Okay. So November 22nd, moving on, Gladiator 2. Probably, hopefully not called Gladiator 2 because that's a real dumb fucking title. because I don't know if anyone remembered, but Maximus did not survive that movie.
Oh, terrible. I
know, real sad. Very sad deal. We relived that trauma just a few months ago in a bonus episode. But we're getting Gladiator 2. It's following up. It's following Lucius, the nephew of Commodus, as he's now a grown man. He's the main character, Paul Mescal. Denzel Washington is in it. Connie Nielsen's back as Lucius's mother. And Sir not appearing in this movie is Joaquin Phoenix, because he dead as well. So thankfully that's good. But yeah, Ridley Scott is directing this. Gladiator 2.
That's a
thing. What do you think? We talked about it a little bit already, obviously, when we did do that bonus episode, but hey, yet another example of, it's been like fucking 25 years. Now's the time. It is time for Gladiator to continue.
You don't have to call it the Gladiator, you know?
I know what they're going to do. What they're going to do is call it Lucius, a Gladiator story.
Yeah, okay.
That's what they're going to do. I'm putting it on the record. Fucking, you wait. They will find a way to put Gladiator in this title, even though it probably doesn't make any fucking sense for the story, because they have to make sure people know that this is a Gladiator sequel. It's in the same universe as Gladiator, which is just Roman history. Oh, fictional Roman history, I guess, to be fair. But
can't we just... I mean, we live in the age where we all have the internet and shit now. You know what I mean? Or you can just put it in a fucking slide in the trailer when you release it.
Put it in the trailer. It's like, this is Maximus. That's Russell Crowe. Oh, shit, it's a fucking Gladiator sequel. Oh, my goodness. And then they call it something else. Like, well, is it actually a Gladiator sequel? It doesn't say Gladiator in the title. It's not fast. It's not Gladiator Presents Lucius, you know?
Oh, that would be even better. Gladiator Presents Lucius.
But Furiosa's doing the same thing, too, where it's, just call it Furiosa. It's fine. Anyone that looks at that is going to look at that and think, this is Mad Max. They don't need a Mad Max saga to tell them this is a Mad Max thing. You know? It's fucking stupid.
It's
Hunger Games Presents, I don't know. That one might have just been the Hunger Games : That's fine. You know? I mean, Gladiator : Lucius is real dumb, so definitely don't do that. And don't call it Gladiator 2. That's probably the worst
scenario.
At least the other ones might make more sense. If
Gladiator II. You could do like lowercase Roman numerals underneath
that would be appropriate. Yeah, Gladiator, just the numeral 2 would be fucking... That's the worst scenario. That's the laziest, worst shit possible.
Oh, well, it's a thing. The November's... Maybe Gladiator 2 can be good. There's a... Maybe. But I think you could say it starts with the fucking presentation of the name. Put it on a movie poster. We'll see what direction they choose to go. So I don't know. I'm a little upset about November currently.
Well, it's going to conclude on the 27th with Wicked Part 1. This is, I guess, like Mean Girls, a musical that has been adapted into a film version. The difference being that this one, I guess, the Wicked musical was itself based off of a book, which was itself based off of another book called The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. You might have heard of it and might have seen a movie that was adapted from it. So this is the filmed adaptation of the Wicked musical, and it's part 1. They are splitting this into 2 movies for some reason. So we're getting part 1 in 2024. We're getting part 2 in 2025. They're about a year apart, so there's that at least.
Jesus Christ.
Wicked's a great musical. This was the first show I saw on Broadway a couple of years ago. Very good. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are like the 2 leads in it. Like one's the Wicked Witch of the West, one's the Wicked or the good witch.
Like in real in real life, that's those were the 2 singers that were on.
Those are the 2 that are in this movie. They were not who I saw on stage. Who I saw on stage, I actually don't remember specifically, but they were whoever was.
When the play opened up, though, is it like a?
When the play opened up, it was Idina Menzel played Elphaba, who becomes the Wicked Witch of the West. It's like a prequel to the Wizard of Oz. Is kind of the idea of it. And then Kristen Chenoweth was Glinda. So those are like the two that originated the cast on Broadway. Both very good, very talented. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, talented, definitely, but not inspiring choices, I don't think. Jeff Goldblum is playing the Wizard of Oz. That's inspiring. I think that's pretty fucking sick. I like that a lot. Michelle Yeoh is in it as well as Madame Morrible, who's... So, like, the idea is, like, they meet, like, at... like, they go to school together, sort of thing.
Okay.
The music's really good. I think that, it's not a show to me that needs 4 hours to adapt it, like maybe they're adding shit in it and gets a little, I don't know. I think a Wicked adaptation definitely could work. It could be good. I don't know. I would think Mission Impossible might be a lesson in hazard, like stop putting part 1 in your fucking titles. Apparently your movies do better when they don't have part 1 in their titles. Even if they are going to be part 1 and 2, like Spider-Verse style, where it's just like, yeah, it was part 1, but like we didn't call it that, so no.
This is going to be this isn't the fuck am I trying to think of here? The Disney Plus one, Hamilton. This is a Hamilton treatment.
This is not a filmed version of the musical. This is a film adaptation
of the musical. Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
It's not just filming the show itself and using, kind of dynamic camera angles. No, this is like full on, like a traditional musical movie, like Mean Girls. Mean Girls, which is clearly not a filmed music, film stage musical. This is a full on musical movie. But obviously adapting the story and taking the music from the stage play, from the show. So, yeah.
I would like to watch Wicked. I've always heard about it, so if this is the way I end up watching it, I guess
they probably do traveling versions of it, that are a little more local. But you can. I
think they play it at the Straz all the time too.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. It's a very popular musical. It's one that's been on Broadway for fucking forever, and will probably be there for fucking forever too. So, got a nice theater and everything. So, you make your way to Broadway and want to check it out, that's fine too. But it's a little bit of a haul, so I get it. Get it if you can't.
Yeah.
Anyway, December. Oh my goodness, we made it to the end of the year. December 13th, The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim.
Now,
animated. This is an anime movie. Like 200 years or whatever before the events of the Lord of the Rings film trilogy. Talking about the exploits of Helm Hammerhand. who is the namesake of Helm's Deep. So yeah, little fucking anime Lord of the Rings deal. What do you think?
Hell yeah.
Pretty cool. We talked about it a little bit, when we finished our Lord of the Rings coverage very recently, but sounds, neat.
Yeah.
Seems like it could be pretty neat.
Cool. No reason not to try it. So
yeah. All right. Now, winding down, December 20th. This is the Christmas season. We're going to be getting Mufasa, the Lion King. It's a Lion King prequel in the vein of the Johnny V Lion King, the animated but live action, or some combination of that Lion King. But it's a prequel about the origins of Mufasa, before he meets his
that could
demise.
be a cool story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? It won't just be the same thing as the cartoon. And maybe that makes it a little bit more interesting.
For sure. It makes the medium that you're choosing to tell the story in totally exciting. Like it doesn't have to look any particular way, you know what I mean? Because it's a fresh, original idea,
Yeah, I just think like that live action Lion King was the same but worse. It was like this had no real. It was a tech demo, and a really fucking impressive tech demo at that.
Yeah.
But this feels more exciting. It's like, all right. I'm not asking for this. I didn't need this. Don't get me wrong. But again, if you're doing a Lion King sort of thing, like how I feel with a lot of these Disney things where they're adapting the classic, animated movies to the live action, is like do something different with it. You might swing and miss. It might be fucking, Will Smith as the genie. But, like, Aladdin in general was, like, better than we expected it to be. It's not better than the cartoon. It's not better than the animated movie. But it was something.
It was different. Right.
And some of them are, like, just like, why? This was an exercise in futility. And then The Lion King is kind of like an example of that, where it's like, it's not bad. It's just boring, So...
It's
anyway,
devoid of any sort of like reason. All the reasons that made you love the original, it's devoid of all of it, So
yeah. Now, December 20th, the same date, we're going to be getting Sonic the Hedgehog 3, featuring Sonic the Hedgehog, Tails, Knuckles the Echidna, Shadow the Hedgehog.
No way!
About Shadow's in it. The rumor mill is that maybe Hayden Christensen might voice him, but that's not confirmed, so don't take that as fact.
Okay.
But exciting news did come out on this front recently. Jim Carrey's back, baby.
He's back.
He's Dr. Robotnik. Couldn't say no to that paycheck either. Kristen Ritter's joining the cast. And the mainstays are there as well.
Fuck yeah.
Schwartz is back as Sonic. James Marsden, fresh off his jury duty, is back. Idris Elba will be back as Knuckles. Sonic 3. I gotta imagine you're up for that, right?
2 thumbs up. Yeah, I've been a mainstay for this franchise since the terrible fucking promotional art that came out many years ago.
Ugly Sonic, and then they revised it just actually look like Sonic, which they could have done in the first place. It didn't for some reason.
They may have. Stuff. I totally think it's a marketing ploy.
Yeah, that's true. Conspiracy theory. It's a real Taylor Swift thing of you to say. Subscribing to that particular theory. Interesting. That was their first attempt, was polluting our minds with Ugly Sonic. I don't know.
Drum up a little bit of, put it on the airways that this is
hashtag it's all connected, Yeah, they all feed into each other. All right. December 25th, which some people in the world know as Christmas Day, we're getting 2 movies that could not be more different. First of which is the Karate Kid. This is the one we talked about. It's the Ralph Macchio Karate Kid, mashed up with the Jackie Chan Karate Kid. The worlds are colliding. Super duper Karate Kid movie. Obviously, we're getting Cobra Kai, as we talked about, but no, we're getting Karate Kid, Super Karate Kid mashup movie too, which could be fun. Could be something. Maybe.
Does this also include the Cobra Kai?
It's to be determined.
Because Macchio
he's in it. He's part of it. Sure. To be determined, I think is the answer. We don't know yet. We don't know enough about it. We don't know if Jaden Smith's going to be in it. We don't know if, how they're going to do any of that. So
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably not going to be better than Cobra Kai, so. But if it can stand alongside it, that's where it should be. That's where it should operate. Not as a, Cobra Kai, fuck Cobra Kai. This is the new sort of thing. Like
this is the new Karate Kid.
Yeah, don't do that. But last but not least, December 25th, something I have to imagine will be a very interesting Christmas for you when you abandon your family to go see Robert Eggers' Nosferatu.
The gift that keeps giving. I can't think of anything more sacrilege, like to do on Christmas Day, Jesus' birthday. I'm gonna go.
You just want to see. Sorry, Jesus. I just wanted to see a gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman and the terrifying vampire infatuated with her. That's what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah. It's a good way to cap off what looks like to be a pretty decent year, I think.
Yeah. Robert Eggers of The Lighthouse and The Northman and the Vivitch fame.
Yeah, man.
He's directing this. Bill Skarsgård is Count Orlok, which is obviously the vampire. Lily Rose Depp, I believe, is playing the young woman. It was originally Anya Taylor-Joy, but I think she had to drop out because of scheduling issues. Nicholas Holt's in it. Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Craven the Hunter is in it. Willem Dafoe is in it because, of course, Willem Dafoe is in it. There have been some stills that have come out. I don't know if you've seen any of those, but It looks fucking cool. It's a remake of the 1922 film Nosferatu: A Symphony of Horror, which is like a classic silent film. It's like it's a bold thing to remake as like a classic of the genre, but to do it 100 fucking years later is really cool. Like a really interesting sort of thing, So
it's almost like if you are going to remake something,
Yeah, wait 100 years to do it. I don't. Second remake of it, technically, to be fair. Apparently, I don't know when the other remake happened. I'll fact check that quickly. 1979. Oh, Werner Herzog did a remake. That's all right. Well, I mean, if you're Werner Herzog, you can do shit too. So that's pretty cool. I would like to see the baby. I would like to see the Nosferatu. That's what he said, I think, in it, perhaps. But yeah, fucking vampire. It's a sort of Dracula-y sort of thing. Good cast. Robert Eggers, obviously, very accomplished, talented director. If anyone's going to take on like a pretty daunting task, he feels like someone that would be up to the challenge. Could be. I mean, feels like something you're going to be excited about.
Yeah. No. I think Nosferatu is really cool. I like vampire stuff. And I like Robert Eggers, and I like everybody in the cast, and this is right up there with Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
Sure, yeah, totally.
100% my shit. So, good Christmas present is a Robert Eggers movie.
Yep, I agree all around. So, when you know it, we've made it to the end of the year. There are some movies that will not be making their originally scheduled release dates in 2024, and I'm going to shout them out now. You will expect them in 2025, including Captain America, Brave New World, Once Upon a Time, New World Order, but not anymore. I think that's February of 2025. Got moved because they're doing reshoots on it. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2, which will definitely be retitled because they dropped Part 1 from Dead Reckoning on streaming. That's 2025. That was once going to be 2024, no longer. But I'm sure we'll still be picking up, obviously, the threads that movie set up, because it even if they don't want to call it anymore, still Part 1. Pixar's Elio. We got a trailer for it a while back, but that got big old bumped to 2025. And so did Disney's Snow White, so they could maybe keep working on the dwarf CGI and make them not look so fucking horrifying. They need an extra year to do that, and honestly, good. Maybe
whatever you got to do.
I don't know. Maybe get like real people instead of just making them weird CG creatures. Like I don't know. Like it's fine. You got time. You can reshoot the whole movie. It's not too late. It's not too late. Anyway, what do you think? 2024. You looking forward to things?
I think we got a. I think we have a pretty good.
There's Dune, obviously, but maybe a pretty good year.
I think we have a pretty good year. We have gaps in between massive projects for the most part. Sure. Big projects that we're excited about. Feels like a well paced out year. So I think stacked up pretty nice. I think we have an excellent year for television, And I think we have some really hard-hitting movies coming out this year. Nosferatu, Dune. Should be an exciting year for the podcast.
Kraven the Hunter,
Garfield.
Maybe what we could do is wait for Venom 3 to come out, and then we'll do a big Sony roundup episode of Madam Web, Kraven, and Venom 3. We could do a bonus episode of Venom 1, 2, and Morbius. You know, we could really just go all in.
What would they call it? The shrub or the
spum?
What?
Spum. SPUM.
Spum.
Spumka. I guess maybe even
Spunk.
Yeah, there's probably a reason they stopped calling it that. I can't imagine why.
Anyways, that could be our bonus episode. Is
Spunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we called that. Just call it bonus episode Spunk. No explanation needed.
And then
nailed it. Very good. All right.
It's long.
Been here a while.
Yeah.
We're dragging it out. You should probably go to bed. It's pretty late. You got a nap, so you're okay. Maybe, but probably still tired. I'm getting tired myself. But I'm not tired of doing this podcast. I'm really excited about these projects in 2024, and I look forward to. We'll talk about it, I guess, in a second. But who knows what we really kick off 2024 with properly? Beyond Echo, obviously. So anyway, I'll say thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. We are on Patreon at patreon.com/watchreviewrepeat. You can get early access to all of our regular episodes. And timed exclusive access to any bonus episodes, Spumka or otherwise.
Epics. I think it was the most recent ones that we've done are epic movies.
We've done a lot of epics. We might continue doing some epics. We might shift gears, do other stuff. Who's to say? We might do a bit of both, Spumk and epics. Maybe the Spumk has some epics in it. Venom movies are really epic, No, they're not. They're bad. And not epics. But anyway, we'll do something on that front, just to be determined. We're kind of in the phase of figuring out what are we even covering in the first place for the regular episodes. So once we kind of have a good trajectory of how to handle that, then that will probably be coming the time where we're like, all right, what do we want to do for bonus episodes? So TBD, but it's going to happen. Stay tuned. Patreon.com/watchreviewrepeat, $2 a month. Early access to regular episodes, if nothing else, bonus episodes in the future. Websites, watchreviewrepeat.com. We're on the socials as well, at WRRpod on Twitter, facebook.com/watchreviewrepeat, at watchreviewrepeat on Instagram. Questions, comments, suggestions at this point. If you're knee deep into 2024, you've watched a few things, maybe watched some of the TV shows that we've talked about in February. I'd love to hear some thoughts on that. Maybe Andrew too. Watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. If you've got something to say, send it our way. Happy to talk about anything, mostly anything within reason on a future edition of the Listener's Corner. Don't talk to me about Spunk. That's weird. That's weird, man. Intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. I don't know what we're going to cover next. I truly don't. There's obviously lots of February stuff that maybe is worthwhile, maybe worth getting into. I don't know. Maybe it's a Lisa Frankenstein. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
We have not decided yet. This was kind of a preview of coming attractions, obviously, and we're going to cover Dune Part 2, and maybe we'll cover something else before then. At a minimum, it will be Dune Part 2 in the near future, and maybe one more thing before that. Maybe, just maybe. We'll see. So, stay tuned. Thanks for hanging out with us for many, many hours yet again, if you're still with us at this point anyway. And we'll catch you for something to really, truly, properly kick off 2024. Andrew?
Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Laters on the Menjay.